sabrinasalvati. Doobie-doobie-doo. I'm your host, sabrinasalvati.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sab's podcast. I'm your host, sabrinasalvati. If you're new, I do want to let you know that Sab's podcast is a part of Revolutionary Blackout Network. You can catch me there for the roundtable, which we'll be doing once a month. And you can catch me here on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I want to give a shout out to everyone watching on YouTube, Rockfin, Twitter, and Rumble. And welcome back, guys. It has been a minute. We have interesting stories for you tonight. We also have my comrade Nick Cruz and, of course, Blakely. They are going to be joining us later in the show to talk about the backlash that Zohran is receiving right now. We're going to get into all of that. Tonight's theme is new boss. And I want you to ask yourself, is the new boss the same as the old boss? Or is the new boss shaking some things up and pissing people off? So that's what I want you to think about when we get into tonight's stories. I do want to go ahead and give a shout out to everyone who is a Sabby patron. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you, fam. If you are interested in being a Sabby patron, I have 5 categories. We have the ultimate. We have Sabinators. Don't forget about those Sabsters. There's also Sabbies, and they're pretty cool too. And we also like to acknowledge, of course, members. All of their names are listed here, ladies and gentlemen, and you can also see their names scrolling across the bottom of the screen throughout the show. Shout out to all of them, fam. I want to give a special shout out to a new Sabby patron. We like to call them newbies. Let's give it up for Mark Raposa. Bam. Bam. Thank you guys so much. Really do appreciate you, fam. Thank you. Again, tonight's theme, ladies and gentlemen, is new boss. Is that new boss the same as the old boss? Or is the new boss pissing people off? Something to think about. Let's take a look at that thumbnail and I'll show you what we are discussing tonight, ladies and gents. I would give shout outs in the chat, but I do want to make sure I get through some of these stories before the guests join us later on tonight. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing Charlie Kirk missing evidence. Yeah. This story is getting wilder and wilder, folks. Now, apparently, there is evidence that is missing. Dun, dun, dun. Crazy, wild stuff. We'll get into all of that and what that has to do with Tyler Robinson. We're also going to discuss Van Jones has finally been confronted for his ridiculous and sick, disgusting comments, of course, about Palestinians in Gaza. And this needed to happen. You know what I mean? This needed to happen. We're also discussing, this is a big one. I'm not sure everybody's heard about this. Tim Pool just announced that he apparently has been banned from Turning Point USA events. Yes. New boss, same as the old boss, or is the new boss pissing people off? We'll get into that. We're also going to discuss Zohran is facing a tremendous backlash because of the situation with Hakeem Jeffries. And there are multiple people that have already filed to run against Hakeem Jeffries. One of them you did see on the show. He's also facing criticism because he apparently stated that he's excited to get started working with Commissioner Tisch. And a lot of the people that voted for Zohran Mamdani are kind of venting online and also in YouTube spaces that they're not happy about this. And I think something that we need to have a conversation about is, what is the red line, right? Like, what is the line that we are drawing in the sand? And I would hope, for one, we would not be supporting any politician that is taking money from the Israeli lobby. That's what I would hope at this point. We're also discussing, you see, there's a picture there of Benjamin Netanyahu, and that's for a reason. If you have not heard about this, Dearborn, Michigan was under attack of course, by paid pro-Israel influencers. They went there to harass the Muslim community in Dearborn, Michigan. I put Netanyahu's face there because this is 100% led by him. The people that you see there are just actors. They're paid actors, but he is the one driving this force. We're going to get into that. And we have a bonus story. Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, has made a statement threatening Democrat politicians that made their own statement in a video here towards military intelligence. So we're going to get into all of this. You know, I wish I could tell you here that we are living in normal times, but we are not living in normal times. We are living in very, very strange times. 2025 has been a crazy year. Quick announcement, and then we'll go ahead and get into the first story. One thing I want to give you a heads up about. So the 4K version of my documentary did premiere today. When I met with Scott yesterday, we did realize, like, as we're going through submissions for like the film festival, a lot of the rules for the film festivals is that the documentary can't be public when I submit an application for those festivals. So the documentary that's on my channel will only be there for a short amount of time. Once we get to the end of December, because I have to start those film applications before the end of December because they have the deadline. Once we get towards the end of December, that documentary is going to be private. So you won't be able to see it on the channel. Just giving you a heads up about that. And then, of course, once we are done with, you know, if we're accepted into film festivals, once we're done with the film festivals, then I can publish it again. I can make that unprivate. But so if you haven't seen it, make sure you watch it before December. It's not my rule. It's a film festival rule. Right. So any screenings, anything like that that I do for that film is going to have to be done, obviously, at least 3 months before the deadline of those festivals. So I have a couple of screenings lined up that I'm going to do. I will be at the Community Church of Boston Friday night, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. for a screening there. And then I'm already in talks with someone to try to do the college circuit here in Boston as well. So I'm trying to get those things out there and get that done before that deadline comes where I can't show this publicly. So just giving you a heads up about that. Lee Argent says, it was awesome work, Sabs. Oh, thank you, Lee. Thank you. I've gotten a lot of feedback from people so far. So really do appreciate that. I will be making appearances on shows to talk about the documentary. I was just on Due Dissidence earlier today. I think I'm going to be on Mark Lamont Hill's show on Monday. I'm going to be on Solomon's show next week. There's a whole list of them. Nico House's show, I'll be on there talking about it. There's a whole list that I have, but I'll alert you guys about that as well. So yeah, a lot of people go there, Stu. A lot of people present at the Community Church of Boston. Max has been there. Professor Richard Wolff has been there. So yeah, there's a lot of people. That place has been around for years, and they've always brought in really great speakers. So yeah, I do not have polo boots. I don't own anything polo. Can't do that. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the first story, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the theme is new boss. As we get into this Tim Pool story, I want you to ask yourself this question about Turning Point USA. Is the new boss the same as the old boss? Apparently, in this situation, no, because Tim Pool just announced that apparently he was supposed to speak at America Fest. Now he has been pulled. He has been banned from speaking at America Fest. And yes, it was a Turning Point USA decision. Let's go ahead and get into this, folks, here. Even Kilgore shared this. Holy shit, Turning Point USA told Tim Pool he is not invited to America Fest this year. This is interesting because if we're looking at the Israel perspective, Tim Pool is, for the most part, has been pro-Israel. He was one of the podcasters that met with Benjamin Netanyahu when he came to D.C. So let's hear what he has to say.
Turning Point maybe sees this. And I'll tell you my thoughts on this one. I wonder if I represent an anti-interventionist faction. Tucker Carlson does too, as does Candace Owens. And I wonder if that's the real reason. I've not said anything particularly disparaging about AmFest, but they told me I couldn't come. Why? Maybe it's because I said we should stop funding Israel. Maybe it's because I said we shouldn't be giving money to Ukraine. Maybe it's because young people largely don't want foreign intervention, and there are individuals in politics who disagree. So I will say this. I've been given the official reason. I had made hurtful comments. Maybe. I had been told they're full. Hard to do. Perhaps. Tucker Carlson is expected to speak there. Maybe it's just it would be too difficult to cancel him. Candace Owens certainly would not be speaking there. But I do wonder if one of the main reasons is that there is an effort to consolidate around a pro-interventionist liberal economic order faction. The use of Tim Pool is no more. We don't need a disaffected liberal who's anti-war and anti-intervention. That's not what the movement needs. The movement needs those who are going to champion foreign investment and foreign intervention. I'm not saying that's definitively why it happened, nor am I trying to cast aspersions, nor impugn the honor of anybody. But I think one of the principal rifts right now is that young people do not care about our involvement in these foreign countries. They want to know how they're going to buy a house and have a family. But I believe if you're going to change this, you need an organization that reaches students that's going to advocate for a worldview that sees it the other way. And so maybe, I'm sure there will be many thoughts, critiques, commentary. I'm sure there will be lies, manipulations, insults, insinuations, all those things. I don't know. I'm going to do my thing.
So here's what I want to say, and we'll get into a little bit more of this video. Tim Pool, especially on Twitter, has in many ways been kissing Israel's ass, been kissing Benjamin Netanyahu's ass, but at the same time also is delivering this message that we shouldn't give money to Israel. So to the person that just said this earlier in the chat, he's basically been playing both sides. But he was one of the podcasters that did meet with Benjamin Netanyahu when he came to DC. He was in that room, and a lot of people online were giving him crap about that. But what this shows you, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll get into a little bit more of it here, is that Turning Point USA has a new boss, and the new boss is making some decisions. It seems as though they are trying to decide who they want on their stage. This is very weird, especially considering the fact that Charlie Kirk was kind of known for bringing on different voices. We saw Charlie Kirk debate Cenk Uygur on the stage. We watched Charlie Kirk debate Brianna Joy Gray also on the stage. He was not immune to bringing on people that were, to the left of him to debate the issues. And now it seems like, now that Turning Point USA has new leadership, they don't even want some people who pretty much align with them, I would say with 99.9% of the issues. They don't even want some of them like on that stage. Obviously, they definitely don't want Candace on that stage. I'm surprised they still have Tucker Carlson as a part of America Fest, but to Tim's point, it's probably because they don't want to lose like ticket costs for that. Like that is a really, really big name, and people already knew that he was going to be there. So there's that. But they are drawing a line in the sand. Let's get into this a little bit more because he also had a lot more to say here.
Hello there, Timcast audience, friends, fans, subscribers. I'm making this video to give you the update on our end of the year show, and I feel like I am obligated to you to make this video now. We will not be, Timcast IRL will not be at America Fest 2025 this year. It is with a heavy heart that I say this, but we were not invited. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes in terms of tumult, grief, a change in views. There's a lot to break down in why we were not invited. And I believe that because we at Timcast IRL on the show, I, as well as others here, had promoted ticket sales and encouraged our viewers to purchase tickets, I have an obligation to you to explain that we won't be there. AmFest is way bigger than me. It's way bigger than this show, and they can do whatever they want. I am a little saddened that we will not be coming. We were there 3 years in a row every year, and it was very amazing. And I am eternally grateful to Charlie Kirk and the crew there for having us out the way they did. And it's sad that The vision has changed in such a way. But I don't want people who have booked tickets and plan to go, hoping to see us, to be upset that we're not there. And I have had people asking me, wait, don't say anything. But I don't think that's fair to you, who we have told to purchase tickets. So we are now 1 month away from the event. And I know that most people attending are not just attending to see me. I think I'm actually one of the smallest portion of the event, and always have been. But we represent a bit of a different audience. But I do know that we have fans who show up for us. And I owe it to you to make sure you don't buy tickets or do something that you may later regret when you find out we didn't inform you after promoting the event. We're not there.
Yeah, that would really suck, huh? So apparently he was active in getting people to purchase tickets for that event that he was going to be at, and now he's not going to be there. You know, in the words of Avril Lavigne, honey, everything's changing. Avril Lavigne, old school Avril Lavigne, first album Avril Lavigne. Everything's changing when I look around. Listen, let me tell you something here, okay? It was only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. Have you ever had a boss? And I think some of you have been in this situation. Raise your hand if this has happened to you. You ever had a job and your boss was either laid off, or let's say they left to go pursue another job. So let's say you had a supervisor that did things a certain way, and everybody was accustomed to the way that they did these things. And then your boss tells everybody, guess what? I'm leaving. I'm taking another opportunity at another company, etc. Then you get the new boss. And in the beginning, people were kind of looking around and they're wondering, okay, what are they going to be like? Are they going to keep things the way that they were before? Because we liked our previous supervisor. We liked our previous boss. New boss comes in and tells you, I know many of you are probably concerned and worried, but don't worry about it. We're not going to change anything. I'm not making no changes. I just want to get to know each and every one of you. I've had that situation happen. And then I've had a new boss just come in and just say, look, from now on, this is how things are going to be done. Right? It seems like with Turning Point USA, because this is happening in such a short amount of time after Charlie Kirk died, it seems like it's the latter, where the new boss came in and said, all right, this is what we are going to do from now on. This is how we are going to do things. The changes are happening very quickly. Has everybody noticed this? It's just November. So they're making decisions. And don't forget, the donors have a say-so here as well. And it's just interesting because out of all the people, Tim Pool, he was in that room there basically, sucking up to Benjamin Netanyahu. But there's something about him apparently that is giving him pause, or is giving the donors pause. Now, if you are not familiar with Tim Pool, I first heard about him during Occupy Wall Street. And that was back when I think he pushed and believed in more left policies. And he started changing over the years. But that's where I came to know of him, because he was reporting that, Occupy Wall Street. He was even on Rising at one point in time when Crystal and Sagar still hosted Rising. But he tends to agree more with the right now, and so he's been in spaces with Charlie Kirk. He's been in spaces with the rest of them at Turning Point USA, and they are shutting the door in his face. Let's continue.
So we won't be there. And this is due to, I was informed, comments I had made that were deemed hurtful to people there. And if that's the case, hey, so be it. I get it. I'm not one to pull my punches. I criticize those that I deem to be critical. I don't think I said anything that should have been considered hurtful or offensive, but it is what it is. I think the management structure has changed as such that we are not welcome. And we're now at the point where, although I'm going to give you the full transparency and explain everything that's going on, there certainly are people at the event who do want us there. The concern that I have is that if there is any function of, we don't like what Tim has to say, I'm not here to create an awkward circumstance or bring any hostility. And so it's better that I just give you the full transparent view of where I think we are. I also want to add that I have frustrations with the politicking that is currently going on, not just related to Turning Point, but behind the scenes with many prominent personalities and politicos and politicians.
Uh-oh.
I believe that people are pulling their punches, refusing to speak out because of concerns of the current infighting and the potential that things could break apart. And it is unfortunate. But I do believe that the sooner we rip the Band-Aid off, we can get refocused and try and figure out what we can do to maintain a movement and succeed in helping this country. There are many challenges ahead, certainly some of them the fault of Trump, that's for sure. And we're going to need to have an honest assessment about what is currently going on if we are going to succeed in the future. But let me give you the backstory of where we currently are and why I'm not invited to even attend America Fest. A few weeks before they murdered Charlie Kirk, the last texts I had sent to him, I asked him if we were still on for IRL as we are with most years because we wanted to get things booked in advance. Charlie told me he'd circle back the team. He'd get right back to me. And, I'm not a big fan of the revealing text or whatever, but unfortunately, they murdered him. They killed the guy who was holding everything together. I believe that Charlie was the principal voice, the strength, the glue that brought this movement.
Who's they? No, you guys notice he said they? He didn't say Tyler Robinson murdered him. He said they murdered him.
Together and was able to get a disaffected, moderate liberal type like me, skateboarding musician, weird guy in weird clothes, to come hang out with some suit-wearing conservatives and talk about how we can make this country better and build the movement. I truly believe Charlie would have been president someday. Following his murder, we were in constant communication with the team over at Turning Point, as we're largely friends, and my staff are friends. And we wanted to wait to be graceful and understanding on the grief. So we didn't press the issue. However, in the past month or so, we did communicate with them about what are the plans for America Fest as we do it every year. And initially we were told nothing has changed and the plan is as usual. And we said, sounds good. That's when we began to promote ticket sales. Again, I'm not trying to make it seem like we're principally responsible for them selling out or anything to that matter, just that we're a small component that will no longer be involved. Considering the fact that we did promote it, I want to make sure I'm being as transparent as possible.
Let's fast forward a little bit here to about 9 minutes.
They should know this. Prominent personalities know this. And I will say, nobody really wants to say it. The point that I had made on the Callan and Schaub podcast was that they're trying to put on a strong face to say to the world, we will not be defeated. Terrorism will not stop us. And so they're displaying strength and trying to show that they're not going to be deterred. From this, there have been individuals who have then inferred or used it to say, aren't they acting weird? Shouldn't they be grieving? And then implying that potentially they're involved in some way.
So we all know who he's talking about here, right? So let me make something very clear. They uninvited Tim Pool. They do not want him to be a part of this America Fest. The way that it's coming across from him is that he's like, well, we're just a small part of the show anyway. He doesn't seem to have any ill will towards them. And that leads me to say this. Let me tell you what this is it, right? Okay. Tim Pool still was trying to be a part of the club, right? So they uninvite you. And he's like, apparently they were offended with things that I said. But when Charlie Kirk was a part of that organization, he brought on people that may have said things that bothered him, but he felt like free speech was necessary. Now, the people who are running this organization now, was Erica Kirk and company, those who are running it now they apparently don't want to have people have conversations at these Turning Point USA events that may have said things that they disagree with, maybe some anti-Israel remarks according to them, or said things that hurt their feelings. Ooh, right? So Tim Pool is not coming down on them the way that he should, in my opinion, because Tim Pool still wants to be a part of the club. So his job is still to convince his audience, still go to America Fest, still attend the event, because he still wants to be a part of it. That's what this is really about. Anytime you see an organization move in this manner that was pro free speech, where all of a sudden now they're against free speech, They don't want to have conversations with people that they vehemently disagree with, which is something that Charlie Kirk did do. I didn't agree with a lot of the things that Charlie Kirk said, but I can't sit up here and say he didn't have conversations with people he disagreed with. So when you make that type of move, you are now gatekeeping. This is now becoming an exclusive club. It's turned into the movie Mean Girls. You guys ever seen Mean Girls? Remember the whole, you can't sit with us. On Wednesdays, we were pink. That's what it's turned into. And Tim doesn't really want to get to it in that level like I did. He doesn't want to say it the way that I did. I don't have anything to lose. I can say that because I have nothing to lose. I was never part of the club, so they can't kick me out of something I wasn't a part of. You know what I'm saying? But he still wants to maintain that in some way, shape, or form. Let's go on a little bit more here.
And so I think it's fair to say I'm not involved with Turning Point. They're friends, but the truth is they are grieving. They do have fears. They do have worries, but they're showing strength for you. I was told that this was offensive, I guess, and it goes against the vision of what they're trying to portray. And for that, there was no intention to invite me back following my statements in this regard. Well, okay. Guys, no, I'm not going to get mad at anybody for not doing me a favor. It's not my party. I'm not an organizer. I'm not a donor. In fact, it was expensive for them to bring my show out there. I think the reality of this is maybe we don't see eye to eye and they don't like that I said that. And that's fair. Nobody has to just accept things that I say and be nice to me. I do think that a core element of this is, though, Charlie may not have liked everything about me. I don't know, but he was a good guy and he knew how to lead. I think ultimately, whatever Charlie thought of me, he saw value in the audience that watches my show. And I think it has to do with we are principally disaffected liberal types, creatives, former liberals that have found more in common with the conservative movement. And thus, we bring a message, much like libertarians, to the conservative side. We bring a certain percentage that will help the conservative side win. And I want them to. I agree they should. I wish we had more political competition. But that seems to be not the vision, at least right now. Or
Dude, just say you're a conservative. I don't like all this mumbo jumbo. I don't like all this. We try to help this side win, but you know I'm more of a da da da. Dude, just say you're a conservative. I don't do this. I don't do this. A little bit more here.
Perhaps it's just they don't operate in the same capacity that Charlie did, willing to be more amicable to other individuals. If they don't like what I have to say, then again, I am owed nothing. I owe them nothing. They owe me nothing. Now, initially, when I went to Phoenix, we did Timcast IRL for a week at the Turning Point Studios. I joined the Charlie Kirk Show, and we even fused Timcast IRL with Thought Crime, which was Charlie's nightly show with Czech Posobiec. We did it all together, and I thought everything was going pretty well. And I had asked the team there if the plan, was going to stay the same. They said, yes, the plan will stay the same. And I said, okay, sounds good. They did express to me, it's hard to do Timcast IRL. It's expensive. It's rough. And I agreed. I didn't want to imply that they were hurting or didn't have money or couldn't afford it or whatever the issue might be.
Yeah, and there was no reason for him to make a video this long about this. The thing is this. Look, this has nothing to do with how expensive it is to do your show. Turning Point USA has a lot of money. The thing is, you hit the nerve with the wrong people. There were things that Tim Pool said that apparently bothered or offended those who are now the new boss at Turning Point USA, and that is why you are uninvited. It's the same reason why Candace Owens is not invited, right? So they have made decisions that they don't want certain people there that may have ruffled some feathers. And this long ass monologue of whatever apology or whatever this is he's trying to do is beside the point. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, there are clubs, and there are clubs that some of us are a part of and some of us are not a part of. Tim Pool was a part of that club, and they are essentially shutting the door to his face, kicking him out of the club. And he doesn't want to say that because he still wants to be a part of it. And that's the sad part about all this. At the end of the day, a lot of this comes down to money. We know the donors were troubled by some of the positions that Charlie Kirk had towards the end there. We know that the donors have a lot of pull and a lot of say so with Turning Point USA because they're donating so much money to this organization. This is why it's important to have a grassroots organization. And so ultimately, you piss off the people with the money, you're gone, honey. That's really what it just comes down to. You pissed off the people with the money, and now you're gone, honey. That's it. We don't need all that other optics. That's really what it boils down to. Things are all obviously changing over at Turning Point USA. The new boss is not like the old boss. And I think people are seeing what is happening. Turning Point USA has a problem because the youth, even on the right, are not fond of this relationship the U.S. has with Israel, especially after Gaza. So they, I guess, have to figure out how to navigate that situation. But they're not going to navigate that situation if they are uninviting or removing people who may have been critical in some way, shape, or form of Israel. Tucker's already booked. They're afraid, I think, to pull that name just because it's such a big name and people have already bought tickets. People probably really be pissed if they were to pull him. But it's all about the money. It's all about the donor class. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. But things are changing over there. And it makes you wonder, again, like I said, there is a change that seems to be happening within the Republican Party. There are some that side with the old school ways of Turning Point USA. And then there are some that are siding with this newer idea that is being brought forward by Nick Fuentes. Don't believe me? Why is Chuck Schumer now saying, he just made a statement that we need to fight back against Nick Fuentes? That's how big this is now. Something to think about. So they kicked you out, Tim. They kicked you out. Ouch. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the next story. If you haven't had a chance to do so, please smash the like button. Thank you. If you're new, don't forget to like, sub, and share, just like a Care Bear. Hey. Let's go to some of the comments here. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat, William. Tim is still in the club. It's optics for PSYOP. And thank you for this one. Tim is a snake. He will never get off the fence. There you go. Leroy said Tim is a huge grifter. Weedy says, what lipstick does Sabby use? Shit be looking flawless. Oh, it's by the Lip Bar. The Lip Bar. But thank you for asking, Weedy. And thank you, Rain. I just watched Remove. Congratulations. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, ladies and gents, let's go ahead and get into the next story. Something else really weird happened. Donald Trump has lost his damn mind. Donald Trump is now threatening Democrat politicians. Donald Trump has gone as far as to say that they should get the death penalty. Why, you might ask? It's over this video that was made by politicians like Alyssa Slotkin, who were speaking directly, as she says, to military and intelligence community. So all these people have an intelligence background. Watch this.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military,
And intelligence community professionals.
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad.
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
The Army.
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
Our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Yeah. So that was the ad that they made there. Again, they all either have military or intelligence background, and they're speaking directly to military and intelligence members that you don't have to do these things that Trump is telling you to do if it's illegal, that you don't have to abide by that. I thought was really funny at the very beginning. They said most Americans love the military. Not nowadays. Not nowadays. Okay. So this was the video that really pissed off Donald Trump. I want to get into this here. Shout out to The Guardian for writing this. Outrage after Trump accuses Democrats of seditious behavior punishable by death. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. There it is. There it is. Let's get into what he said. Democrats expressed outrage after Donald Trump accused a group of Democratic lawmakers of engaging in seditious behavior, punishable by death, and that they should be arrested after they posted a video in which they told active service members they should refuse illegal orders. The video, which I just showed you, released on Tuesday, features 6 Democratic lawmakers who have previously served in the military or intelligence roles, including Senators Alyssa Slotkin and Mark Kelly, and Representatives Maggie Goodlander, Chris DeLuzio, Chrissy Holohan, and Jason Crow. And they go on to tell you what they said there in the video. That part, that seemed to prompt a serious response from the U.S. president. On Thursday morning, Trump wrote on Truth Social, "It's called seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put on trial." In another post, he wrote, "This is really bad and dangerous to our country. The words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from traitors, lock them up." President Donald J. Trump. In a third post, he added, "Seditious behavior, punishable by death." He also reposted a statement that said, "Hang them, George Washington would." Let me highlight this here. This is insane. So here's the thing. I'm not a fan of any of those politicians in that video, but here's the reality. If something happens to one of those politicians in that video, everybody's going to go back to these posts that Donald Trump made. That's a call. That's a signal. That's insane. Absolutely insane. This is ridiculous. Now, this is interesting coming from Donald Trump, considering that he said there was an assault on his life when he was running for president. He's like, "They tried to take me out. They shot at me. Look at me. They tried to come after me." If this type of statement was posted on social media from someone who was on the left, Donald Trump would be calling for their head. "Oh, there goes those radical leftists. You see, we told you they're evil people. They're so violent." But when he does it, it's okay. And yet some people still fail to see the hypocrisy within this administration. Let's continue on here. Following Trump's statements on Thursday, Hakeem Jeffries and Democrat Whip Catherine Clark and Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar released a joint statement condemning the remarks. "Political violence has no place in America," they wrote. Representatives Jason Crow, Chris DeLuzio, Maggie Goodlander, and Chris Holohan, and Senators Mark Kelly and Alyssa Slotkin all served our country with tremendous patriotism and distinction. We unequivocally condemn Donald Trump's disgusting and dangerous death threats against members of Congress and call on House Republicans to forcefully do the same. But they're not going to, because it's happening with their party. When Charlie Kirk was killed, it was Donald Trump and members of his administration and social media accounts as well saying that that is political violence and there's no place for it in the United States. But here is Donald Trump using political violence. It's like, you can't do it, but I can do it. Or it's not violence when I say it. So where are all the people, and this is what I say again, where are all the people who said those radical leftists using political violence? Where are all those people now? This is the problem, folks. This is one of the reasons why the founding fathers did not want political parties. You know why? Because they felt that this would take place, that people would look at what was best for the party instead of what was morally best or standing by their issues. They would just back whatever the party wants, even if they know that it's wrong. You saw this with the Epstein files. It wasn't until Donald Trump said, okay, go ahead and do the vote. I'll go ahead and go forward with the Epstein files. Of course, that was after it was already decided that anything that would involve him or Republicans would be redacted. All of a sudden, all those politicians that were like, no, it's a Democrat hoax, they all went right along with it and did what their daddy told them to do. So here we are once again. Now, all of a sudden, it's not a call to political violence because it's towards the opposite party. These parties are a problem. And I cannot say that enough. Let's go on a little bit more here. All righty. Democratic leaders also said that they had been in contact with House Sergeant at Arms and the U.S. Capitol Police to ensure the safety of these members and their families. Donald Trump must immediately delete these unhinged social media posts and recant his violent rhetoric before he gets someone killed. The lawmakers who appeared in the video also released a statement. We are veterans and national security professionals who love this country and swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. That oath lasts a lifetime, and we intend to keep it. No threat, intimidation, or call for violence will deter us from that sacred obligation. What's most telling is that President considers it punishable by death for us to restate the law. Our service members should know that we have their backs as they fulfill their oath to the Constitution and obligation to follow only lawful orders. It is not only the right thing to do, but also our duty. Every American must unite and condemn the president's call for our murder and political violence. So like I said before, everybody has something to say until it's their party that is doing it. So in the case of Donald Trump, new boss, same as the old boss in some ways, but in other ways, Trump just does whatever the hell he wants to do. Nobody stops him. Nobody. Even those Republicans in Congress, they know some of these things that Donald Trump is doing isn't right. They go along with it because it's their party. I don't want to face a primary challenge. Donald Trump might send AIPAC after me. Then you just go back home to your damn district. It's not like these people can't continue the jobs they had before. Most of them were lawyers any damn way. Then you just go back to practicing law. They want that fame. They want that power that comes with electoral politics in this particular country. Some of these people that are politicians, I think, are people who wanted to be celebrities, and they said this is the next best bet. But that's insane. Everyone should be calling that out. So you can't say, call out political violence when it happens on our side, but don't call it out when it happens on the other side. The hypocrisy to me, it just knows no bounds, no bounds. And here's the other funny part, the Chuck Schumer part. The Democratic Senate minority leader also condemned Trump marks. Let's be crystal clear. The president of the United States is calling for the execution of elected officials. But Chuck Schumer, you a day late and $1 short, honey. You a day late and $1 short. You know why? Because you went along with that same president twice. Chris Murphy made a video about this. I want to show you guys. He had something to say. I would imagine, he's been speaking out a lot lately. I would imagine he's probably has future political aspirations.
The President of the United States just called for Democratic members of Congress to be executed. This is not normal. We cannot allow this to feel normal. This as far as I know, has never happened before in the history of the country. Every Democratic member of the Senate and the House, their life is in jeopardy right now, especially those that were specifically targeted by this social media post. Democratic senators and House members who were simply saying that no member of the military should act illegally or in violation of the Constitution. The President of the United States just called for members of Congress to be executed. If you are a person of influence in this country, maybe it's time to pick a fucking side. If you are a Republican in Congress, if you are a Republican governor, maybe it's time to draw a line in the sand and say that
Chris out here dropping F-bombs.
under no circumstances should the President of the United States be calling on his political opposition to be hanged. We are at a very dangerous moment right now. The President is engaged in the wholesale incitement, endorsement, and rationalization of political violence in this country. This is a very slippery slope that we are on. This is a moment for people to step up, for Republicans to step up, for business leaders to step up. Anybody who has a voice or a soapbox in this country needs to draw a line in the sand and say that it is not acceptable for the President of the United States to call on the murder of his political opposition.
And that's where we're at now, ladies and gentlemen. That is where we are at now in this country. It's insane. And I tell you guys, I said it. Trump is going to be bad. It's not going to be good. But holy shit, he even outdid what I thought he could do. This is insane, and dangerous. So dangerous. Jesus Christ. New boss is cray. New boss is cray. That's what's happening, folks. Let's get to some of the comments here and we'll go to the next story. Marwa says, Sabby, we love you from Palestine. Hey, hi, Marwa. What's up? Love you too. Thank you. Thank you, China. Hey, Sab, what's your favorite sides on Thanksgiving? Mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, a little bit of yams, and collards. I think that's all the sides. And green bean casserole. But the sides are my favorite. I like the turkey, but it's not my favorite thing. My favorite thing has always been the sides. Are you a sides person? If you like sides on Thanksgiving, put a 1 in the chat. If you like the turkey the most, put a 2. Curious to see that. Thank you, Ratso. Miss Sabs, the documentary is beautiful, and I hope it gets a spot. Looks like Trump thought that the other 3-letter Fed orgs didn't have 6 days to Sunday as well. Looks like it. Looks like it. Thank you, Sean. This whole thing sounds like an episode of Babylon 5 with Trump as President Clark Wild. Friend of the show, Roger Meadows, actually has me watching Babylon 5. Interesting. Jerry said, Sabby, you look very lovely tonight and congratulations on the documentary. You're doing great work. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Fuzzy Balls. Chris Murphy shouldn't be casting stones in a glass house. He's owned by Israel and the MIC, not giving that dude any credibility. You tell him, Fuzzy. And thank you, William. Trump wants death for everything like a monster, but people in video are propagandists, maybe pushing revolt to trigger martial law. That's a good point there, William. Good point. Okie dokie. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to the dark meat. I guess you're a leg guy, uptight. Are you the leg guy for Thanksgiving? Oh, God. Eric said the ones have it. Okay, so it looks like most people like the sides on Thanksgiving. Yeah, I don't know. I've just always been that way, too. Okay, we're going to do one more story before our guests come on. So let's get to this Van Jones story, okay? Van Jones was finally confronted to his face. And again, not in a violent way. These are words. And it is because of what Van Jones said here. Remember when Van Jones was on Bill Maher's show and he made the comment about the dead babies in Gaza? Just a reminder in case you forgot.
But isn't part of that because we had to fold everything into critical race theory, and somehow the Middle East became part of,
I see it differently. And I love this conversation because I think people, those of us who went to college, give a lot more credit to college courses for how the world works than I do. This is not about critical race theory on college campuses. This is about Iran. Iran and Qatar have come up with a disinformation campaign that they are running through TikTok and Instagram that is massive. If you are a young person, you open up your phone and all you see is dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, right. Diddy, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby. Like, that's basically your whole feed. So that's not DEI. That is a geopolitical adversary that is deliberately trying to divide the West against itself.
Yeah, so Van Jones is a puppet for Israel. We've exposed him multiple times on this show. So he is doing the bidding of Zionism. Somebody gave Dan a check. Somebody gave Dan a check because you can't sit up here all these years and call out apartheid South Africa. And you were an activist and all of a sudden you pretend to not know the history of Gaza and the West Bank. Oh my God, I just don't seem to know no more. Van seems to be one that's willing to do anything for a check. So Van got paid. And because Van got paid, Van has been confronted. And this is the ultimate. I got to tell you, this was shared by the Climate Defiance. And they said Van Jones is a joke. So let's take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen.
Gazans are starving! Gazans are starving! Shut the fuck up! Gazans are starving! Gazans are starving because of people like Van Jones!
That's a lot of people.
I would like to provide a toast to Van Jones, a man who started out as a racial justice advocate and is now a stooge for corporate media and a shill for the Israeli government, making fun of dead Gazan babies.
If you are a young person, you open up your phone and all you see is dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, right. Diddy, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby.
Absolutely pathetic to platform a genocide denier.
We gotta go back to that guy and drop the beat for him because the way he did that, so I don't know, he was kind of smooth with it, the way he did that so smoothly. It's just, you got to give him an applause for that one. So here's Van Jones, and notice, look around the room. I want you guys to point to something. Tell me if you see any black people. Watch this.
That's a lot of people.
I don't see any black people. I don't see any black people. But these are probably people with money. Probably people with money. That's all Van Jones care about. You see who he catering to. So this guy's 100% right with his point.
I would like to provide a toast to Van Jones, a man who started out as a racial justice advocate and is now a stooge for corporate media and a shill for the Israeli government.
Yeah, we gonna drop the beat for him, guys. Let's drop the beat. Drop the beat. Dance with me. Dance with me. Drop the beat. In the street. Woo! I'm sorry. That guy is 100% right what he said there about Van Jones. Let's continue.
Making fun of dead Gazan babies.
If you are a young person, you open up your phone and all you see is dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, right. Diddy, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby.
Absolutely pathetic to platform a genocide denier.
I'm here on behalf of the dead Gaza babies. Shame on you, Van Jones, and your Michael Bennett for funding the genocide.
Do you see this? See the arrogance of Van Jones? See how he's just waving to them and smiling? A paid puppet. What a disgrace. What a disgrace this man has become to the Black activist community, which he used to be a part of before they gave him a suit and told him to shave the dreads off his head, unless those were fake. Maybe it was all an act to begin with, but what a disgrace Van Jones has become. He has the audacity to sit up there and smile and wave, a paid puppet.
I moved to Colorado when I was 10 months old.
Is this the Jewish values that you have?
God bless them. But I got stuff I want to talk about.
You can't feed children! You can't feed children! Get out!
I got a chance to spend a great deal of time in the Holy Land. I got a chance to spend time in God's land.
Heard what he said. So he said he spent a great deal of time in the Holy Land. That's where he spends his days now. That's where he spends his time. That's what he's paid to do. When's the last time you saw Van Jones? And I said this before. Be aware of some of these people who are like Black activists. They were like considered Black radical activists, and they got a suit and decided to go make more money. When's the last time you saw Van Jones in the Black community actually doing activism? I don't mean like on CNN and saying, oh, I'm trying to raise money for this organization of mine. I mean like actually in the community, out on the streets doing the activism. I'll wait. Let's finish it up here.
Thank you, JSF, for feeding our community. Fuck you, Van Jones, for selling out. How much have you been paid? Just stand on the wrong side of history. You will be judged harshly.
There's no filming here.
You talk about food security. Gazans are starving. Gazans are starving. Shut the fuck up. Gazans are starving.
Look at this. Look at this. You see how they're treating this guy? Does this guy have a gun? No. Is this guy hitting anybody? No. He was speaking. And they're mad because he said Gazans are starving. You see how they treat people?
Gazans are starving! You're on camera!
He's trying to choke this guy.
Shut the fuck up! Gazans are starving! Gazans are starving! Gazans are starving! Gazans are starving! Because of people like Van Jones! Thank you for
Take it down.
Be quiet.
It's time to go. It's time to go.
We're going. Relax.
It's time to go.
We're going. Keep on the curb. Cross your legs.
But everybody should have just as much rage as that guy. And Van Jones just sits there and just smiles and waves. So when we talk about new bosses, we need to ask, who is Van Jones' new boss? Seems like he just kind of goes with the wind. 1 minute he's congratulating Donald Trump. The next minute he's congratulating, the Democrats. And in all, he'll make these comments on CNN talking about social justice and social, rights and civil rights and all this types of stuff. But he is supporting what Israel does. So who's his boss? Who's the new boss? Think about that. All right. I see our guests are here, ladies and gents. Let's go ahead and bring them in. Corey, can we go ahead and go to part 2 for Tight VNC? All right. We are going to go ahead and bring in my comrade Nick Cruz from Revolutionary Blackout Network. And you guys know her all the time. You've seen her here before. And Miss Blakely, let's go ahead and bring them in.
Not Miss. Hey.
Hey, what's popping, my dear RBN sister? Sabby, we're so proud of you. Thank you for inviting me on.
Well, I'm so glad you guys could come on, because I was like, well, I can talk about this story by myself, but I really wanted to hear from you guys. Because, so for those who are not aware, there's 2 things we want to look at here. Zohran Mandami, the first one is about a challenge towards Hakeem Jeffries. And then the second one is this idea of keeping Commissioner Tish, and that he said he's looking forward to working with her. So I want to start with the Hakeem Jeffries part first. For those who have not seen this, because I know everybody's not on Twitter, Zohran Mamdani, in a recent interview, was asked about Hakeem Jeffries having a challenger. Everyone listen to this.
As you've seen, your election has created a lot of buzz. Now that the midterms are underway, that seems to be the focus, but your name is still being dragged into the midterms, right? Let me talk about Hakeem Jeffries for a moment, who now may face a challenge from Chi Osei, who is a member of the DSA. You said that there are local issues that Mr. Osei should be focused on, maybe should remain a councilman. Are you saying he should not run against Hakeem Jeffries?
No, I'm saying that I think the focus should be right here on New York City. I respect the work that Councilmember Osei has done.
But what does that mean? Should he not run?
I think that right now is not the time to be engaging in that kind of a primary. I think the focus should be on delivering on this affordability agenda.
And
so I guess the first question I have for you guys, because what I noticed is that the interviewer here who's asking the questions, he didn't really push back here, and he should have gone into the but why, right? Like, so Zohran said that now is not the time. And it bothers me when people say that. For people who are not aware, like, this was said during the civil rights movement. Now is not the time. And then there's always this question of, well, when is the right time? And the other question I have for you guys is this. I feel like I thought we were on this path to drawing a line in the sand where people are not going to be supporting politicians that are taking money from the Israeli lobby. That's what I thought. And now we are seeing that people are once again trying to make the excuse, well, this politician takes the money from AIPAC, and we know Hakeem has taken over $1 million from AIPAC, just AIPAC in particular. Don't mess with him, though.
Right.
Don't mess with him. Now's not the time for that one. Yeah, we're going to fight back against, AIPAC and the Israeli lobby, but not with Hakeem. Like, don't mess with him. Blakely, I'll go to you, and then I'll bring in Nick.
Yeah, so obviously it's disappointing. I'm upset about it, to say the least. I think that now is not the right time is not a sufficient answer. I wish he would have been asked, why not? Although I don't know what he would. I wish somebody would have said, well, why not? But even though I'm disappointed, obviously, because Hakeem Jeffries is trash, he's not. There are buckets of worse, bad and worse. Hakeem Jeffries is terrible. In fact, why Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are still in leadership positions is a joke. Both of them should have had to step down after the election loss, because you guys lost, so there should have been consequences for that. And then the government shutdown that they handled in the most joke way possible, they should have stepped down after that. So yes, I'm upset about it. I'm disappointed, but I don't think people should listen. I hope that she runs anyway, because Hakeem Jeffries, there is no defense of him. He is not only an AIPAC shill, he's a corrupt, also, not to be a dick about it, but he's not even talented. Like, people say that, like, I know people say that, like, oh, well, he's probably good at other things. I'm sure he is. You don't get in a position like that without having skills somewhat. But I'm talking about politics is about voting. It's about moving shit. But there is an aspect of it that is about propaganda and being a leader and performance. And they suck. Hakeem Jeffries, the same guy that literally stood up and said there was nothing we could do. And I'm so tired of hearing that shit, because I just watched 4 fucking Republicans force a vote to get those Epstein files through. 4. It took 4 of them. And they even dragged Bobo's ass into the fucking situation room and tried to bully her ass into not doing it. And she still voted to sign that discharge petition. So I don't want to fucking hear it. Also, like, there is no, again, excuse for somebody as talentless as Hakeem Jeffries, for as corrupt as Hakeem Jeffries, and somebody who was taking, when he was asked after the election of Mamdani, after he didn't endorse him that entire time, after he dicked around and refused to endorse him the entire time, he literally said, I did, but I'm still going to make sure that I highlight our differences as it relates to Israel having a right to defend itself. And he immediately went and started defending Israel. It was like insane. Like, he is not even there. Also, it is the right. First of all, I don't believe in there not being a right time to primary somebody. Okay. If you're saying it's not the right time, you don't believe in democracy. You don't believe in it. because you can't say that it's not the right time and then shit on somebody for primarying someone. You go get to, these bitches walk around and call themselves the party of democracy while constantly crushing people trying to primary them. It is so maddening. But then also it's like pisses me off particularly because people told Zohran that it wasn't his time. People told AOC that it wasn't her time. And it was like, Zohran Mamdani, people forget, he was literally nobody. He was nobody. He was polling at 1%. He was an assemblyman. People said he was crazy. People said he was a loser. People said that nobody was going to elect a Muslim. Like,
yep.
And people got behind him. People didn't listen. So my hope is that, and I know I'm not a part of DSA, so I know I have no right to tell them how to vote. Like, it's up to them to decide how to vote. But I hope that they buck it, because here's the thing. This is the thing that makes me insane about the voters, is that there is so much bowing down to leadership in a way that the Republicans just don't do. The Republicans didn't give a fuck about what Mike Johnson had to say about this petition. They didn't. But when it comes to the Democrats, it's always, where can we bow? How can we bow to leadership? It's like, how about fuck Hakeem Jeffries? How about Hakeem Jeffries and Cuck Schumer are a fucking joke? AIPAC Shakur should not be sitting in fucking Congress, and he shouldn't be in leadership. These people are clowns, and the least they could have done was stay the fuck out of it. You don't want him to run because people, of course, I got fucking dogpiled by everyone. Every fucking person dogpiled me. And the people that were defending Zohran were saying, shut up, it's not the right time, you're already ruining his agenda, blah, 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 blah. You don't know the 4D dimensional chess and the what that he's going to be doing behind the scenes. It's like, he didn't even give a reason. He didn't even bother trying to explain himself. Well, you're not giving us a reason. And also, I don't know how this would hurt his agenda. What is Hakeem Jeffries going to do? Invite Trump to come? Like, it's sorry. And I'm already having a bad day because there was a roach in my apartment and my husband wasn't home to kill it. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And what happened last night for him. Also, he came out like, I'm feeling whiplash because like, I'm excited.
Well, let me get to that part in just a minute about what happened, what he did last night. But let me get Nick in here.
Yeah, Blakely was cooking there, I believe. I think that's the anger everyone in New York should have. And before I say this, and people know I've been going very hard on Zohran Mamdani for months, because to me, this was very obvious. And it's only going to get worse, by the way. But I'm not angry at the desperate New York working class people who was desperate to drive down the cost of goods. And that's why they were misled by this fraud, Zohran Mamdani. There was people that were desperate and they were willing to do anything it took to lower the cost of goods. And I understand that. But I don't know why anyone would be surprised at him betraying the movement. The second I saw people defending Zohran Mamdani uncritically, when I saw nothing but red flags, literally every interview. I wasn't like nitpicking interview. It would be every interview. He would say something cringe. And I will have to decide not to cover it because I'm like, all right, I don't want to destroy Zohran too bad, so I got to ignore him. But every interview, he's saying cringe stuff, which made it 100% clear where his loyalty was. But everyone on the left completely ignored it. For example, he made it clear that his number one goal was not to build a movement of working class leftists to challenge the capitalist class. He made it clear that his number one priority is to save the Democratic Party. That is what he said on his campaign launch. And he kept saying it over and over again. Like, yeah, our movement is going to save the Democratic Party? You mean the party that deserves to die after the genocide that they enabled? So was Zohran, and I knew this playbook was coming. He was going to get a massive amount of popularity because of the left, and he's going to use his popularity in order to whitewash and in order to rehabilitate genocidal Zionist scum. I called it immediately because months ago he was doing events with Richie Torres, being friendly with Richie Torres, someone who was terrified because he was worried about a primary after supporting genocide. So, okay, it's clear that Zohran is going to use his credibility to try to save this party. So I don't know why people thought that he would ever endorse a primary challenge against his leaders. What he's going to do is defend the genocidal Democratic Party. And
Well,
the second I see people defending stuff, but go ahead, Sabby.
I mean, I would just say he doesn't even have to endorse it. I think the thing that people are really upset about was this. It says, in extraordinary appearance at the New York City DSA meet tonight, Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani urged the leftist group to not endorse Shi Osei's run against Hakeem Jeffries, saying the move would make it more difficult to enact his agenda in New York City. I think what more people are mad about is that he went out of his way to go to this DSA meeting to tell the DSA New Yorkers not to get behind this guy, not to get behind Shi. But then I have to say something else too. I don't understand why people are pretending as though there's only one person who is running against Hakeem Jeffries. This is another thing that is irking me because I'm like, okay, there's a plan here, something happening behind the scenes. If you look at the Ballotpedia right now, according to Ballotpedia, and he came onto the show, Vance Bostic is running against Hakeem Jeffries. Vance Bostic has been running since July. So the question that I have, why are all these people, and this is not just corporate media, even independent media, why are they pretending as if there is only one person who is running against Hakeem Jeffries when Vance has been running before? Now, Vance came onto the show.
They're trying to split the vote, Sabby.
But Vance came onto the show and I asked him, I said, would you consider running as an independent? And this is the reason why. Do you see, Vance has been going on to all these different posts on Twitter saying, I am running against Hakeem Jeffries, and people are ignoring it. And that to me is an alarm. I'm like, what the hell? So is it a money raising issue? Because I'm seeing that she has already raised like a lot of money, over $150,000, already has thousands of people lined up to volunteer for him. I don't understand what this is, but how is that any different to the way that the media treated Bernie when he ran in 2016 and in 2020? So what the hell is really going on? So that's a question that I have as well. But then also, I think a deal was made. And I want to get your take on this, Nick, and I'll go back to Blakely. I'm starting to wonder if before Hakeem Jeffries came forward and gave that lukewarm endorsement of Zohran's campaign, and it was lukewarm, I'm starting to wonder if there wasn't some kind of deal that was made behind the scenes between those two. How do we know if Hakeem didn't sit down? Because we know they met. How do we know that Hakeem didn't say to Zohran, well, you know what? I'll give you my support as long as you don't support a primary against me. Because Hakeem already knew. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all. Vance has been running since July. He already knew people wanted him out. People been calling for Hakeem to get out of there. So how do we know that wasn't a deal that wasn't already made? Nick.
This is one of the many red flags because Zohran Mamdani's strategy to accomplish his policies was not rooted in class war. Making backroom deals with the capitalist class is not how you advance the agenda for the working class. You do what Shama did, who actually accomplished win for the working class in Seattle. You form a coalition of working class people to put maximum pressure on the ruling class and to defeat them. In Mexico, for example, Claudia Sheinbaum and the Morena Party, did they reduce poverty in Mexico, Sabby, by infiltrating the neoliberal party? No, they did it by forming their own anti-capitalist party that outright rejected neoliberalism. Well, this is why I get frustrated with the DSA left strategy, because the strategy is ahistorical. The only thing you guys got from running in the Democratic Party is a genocide. And now you win one election, one mayoral race, and you can't even hold your candidate accountable because you guys had no mechanism of accountability because entryism is a failed strategy. And that's why he is obviously going to defend Hakeem Jeffries, because that's his job, to keep the anti-Zionist movement in check, Sabby. But please continue if you want to.
But to go out of your way, Blakely, to go out of the way to go to DSA and tell them not to endorse that guy. Now, I do understand some things I was reading about is that he has not been a member of DSA for a long time. So some people feel as though he just joined recently and he's trying to ride this wave or whatever that's happening. I do understand that. But like I said, he's not the only person that's running against Hakeem. But it is kind of weird to go out of your way and go to that meeting and tell them don't do it.
Right. Which is what I had a problem with, because my thing is, like, I understand. First of all, I understand why they would be hesitant to endorse him, because he was kind of in and out, and he's a good councilman. But so I get that. And again, like, I don't want to be like too lecturing to them, because, you know, I do know that there are a lot of DSA people that work their fucking asses off. Like, they're really about it. Like, and if an endorsement would be a big deal, because that includes all that infrastructure. It includes people willing to go and knock on doors and go outside and fucking brave the cold and shit. Like, so I get that. But at the same time, you know, silence was an option. Staying the fuck out of it was an option. You didn't have to come. That's what's getting me. I don't even begrudge Zohran for saying the things he said about the Democratic Party, because at the end of the day, he is still a Democrat. So that's what he is. So that's fine. At least he's saying that. Like, I'm fine. Like, I don't care. What I care about is, why do you always have to come in and ruin it? Like, literally coming in and ruining it. Like, you could have shut up. You could have shut up and just let somebody go and primary him. And if DSA wanted to vote for him, they could. And some people have said to me, well, slow your roll. They might have made a backroom deal when it came to this. Okay, so then why not explain that then? Why not explain that? You know what I don't like? I don't like being fucking talked down to all the time. You don't understand. It's not your time. Blah, blah, blah. They have a grand start. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Why don't you just level with us? Then tell me, if you think that this untalented fucking hack who speaks like a speak and spell is for whatever reason should not be primaried, then why don't you explain that to us? I am so tired of these plan trusters. It's like literally, it's like the equivalent of the people that are like cat turd on the right that will like yell at anybody that criticizes Trump and says that they need to trust the plan. It's like, that's what I feel like sometimes when it's like, they're like, you don't understand. It's like, no, I do understand. I've been watching this since the beginning. Wasn't even that long ago that I was fucking canvassing for him. Okay. Like, it makes me feel so enraged to be just disrespected like this. Like, and it's not that I'm surprised. It's not that I'm surprised. But yes, of course I'm disappointed. I am getting priced out of my neighborhood. I don't want to lose my apartment. They've raised my rent every single year since Eric Adams became mayor. So it's like, yeah, sorry, crucify a bitch for having a little bit of hope, okay? For like, maybe things might get a little bit more bearable. But what I hate so much is just like, it's actually a two-way street. The contempt that so many of them have for us, that they can't even level with us and tell us why they're making a decision. They could have stayed out of it instead of just letting it. They're not even not being neutral. They're putting their finger on the scale. They're encouraging people not to run against somebody who is objective trash, okay? And then the other thing is I can't stand that the foot soldiers are always there ready to tell me to shut up. No. I'm not going to shut up about it. I want you to be about what you fucking said about. And yes, I know the Democrats are trash, but that's not just the only problem. The other problem, and sorry to be a bitch, are the fucking voters. You never want to hold anybody accountable. You never do. You never want to hold anybody's feet to the fire. I'm the only one fucking saying anything and people are telling me to shut up. I have no
well, and I think this brings up another question, right? Because then we get into the Tish thing. I know some people are upset about this as well. Zohran said, I look forward to working with Commissioner Jessica Tish to deliver genuine public safety in New York City, yada, yada. This one I'm a little shocked that people are surprised by, because he did say he was going to keep her. So I'm kind of surprised that people are shocked by this. But I think the question that needs to be asked, like, what are people supposed to do, right? So the thing is, I really do think, and people need to draw a line in the sand. Either you are supporting candidates that take money from the Israeli lobby, or you're not. And I don't want to hear the if, and, or buts. And I don't care who the politician is. Either you're supporting the candidates taking money from the Israeli lobby, or you're not. That needs to be a hard line that is drawn in the sand. This is why I encourage more people to run as independents. So I think that's something that people need to start asking themselves. Like, seriously, after everything that we've seen, especially that happened in Gaza. And then with the Tish situation, I wanted to get your opinion about that, Nick, as well. He did say he was going to keep her, but I saw a lot of people melting down the other day saying, oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm like, he did say that he was going to keep her, but she is absolutely awful. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was shocking how many Zohran supporters didn't really understand his position on a lot of these issues. And like I said before, like I think everyone who in New York should be as angry as Blakely is, because I'm actually very depressed because I don't want to attack people who supported Zohran. If you guys know, I'm mostly just I'll rant on my timeline. I'm not going after anyone. You guys know this. Like I haven't went after anyone personally because like you do what you believe is best. I personally feel disappointed that I wasn't able to reach him and offer alternatives. Because Sabby, what we've been focused on for the last few years, we've been focused on mutual aid, building up third parties, building up outside power. So I failed, and I didn't like seeing people fall for the Zohran Mamdani thing. Legitimately depresses me because I mean apparently I failed somewhere. Apparently Marxists are failing somewhere. Why aren't we reaching these struggling workers who keep falling for the same strategy over and over again, and it's not working? Regarding Tish, like I was explaining to people to Zohran, like based on his strategy I've seen, I knew he wasn't going to accomplish his domestic agenda because that's not the strategy you do to win class war. So I was like, guys, all his domestic agenda items, he's lying. He's full of shit. Like he's getting your hopes up. Like that's why a lot of people are disappointed. He's saying stuff he know he won't accomplish. Kathy Hochul, the governor, already shut down like 90% of his policy items. So what I said at the time, very early on, I would say very early on, I said, we can tell whether Zohran Mamdani is legit because you might as well throw away all that domestic shit he's talking about. It doesn't mean anything. But it is important to have a progressive mayor based on how they treat the NYPD. I said that very early on. Let's see how he treated the NYPD. The second I saw him apologize to the NYPD, I knew you guys was cooked. And then he said weeks ago that he was going to bring this Zionist psychopath. And you guys know Tish, she worked with ICE in order to deport a pro-Palestinian student. And do you guys think that Tish is going to bend to the will of Zohran? No, Zohran already folded. It's over, guys. It is over, fam. Because now what Tish James is going to do, she's going to challenge his authority every opportunity she gets. It's all about diminishing his power. That's their plan, to infiltrate the administration and diminish his power. So when she undermines Zohran, what she wants to be like, I wish you would fire me. Go ahead and give us the headlines that you fire me. So you're going to have Tish James that's going to be working against Zohran's policies, but Zohran's not going to care. You know why? And I've explained this concept many times before. Zohran is a young guy. But don't you only have like 2 terms as a mayor in New York? And you can't run again? You guys think he don't have any future ambitions to be a senator? Like he's a superstar. Is he going to ruin his career by upsetting the establishment he worked so hard to win over? These are questions I asked on RBN, and no one wanted to ask these questions. People like, Nick is just a Zohran hater. No, you guys are not asking any critical questions. What is your mechanism to hold him accountable? You have none because he's a career climber. Even if he serves 1 term in New York, that's okay because as long as he's doing good by the establishment, he can run for Congress later. He can run for senator later. But if he has a burn it down approach, which is how you win class war, then he'll make an enemy of the establishment, and all his future opportunities will be cut off. This dynamic and the fact that Zohran is a careerist is how I knew exactly he was going to backtrack on all his promises. And once again, I'm sad that I wasn't able to reach people and explain this to them. Like, because I do believe it's on me. I believe it's on revolutionaries that we can't reach the American people. I'm like, why? I don't get it because.
Well, I think the problem, I think in this particular situation, though, what else were people supposed to do? Because there was no third party candidate. There was no independent, like what else were they? See, I think that's the problem, right? Yeah. So it was like, this is what you were faced with, Zohran, Sliwa, or Andrew Cuomo. And I think we all know Andrew Cuomo didn't really have an agenda for the working class. He just wanted to help out Israel as much as he could, as possible as he could. And also, of course, the billionaire class. So I think, what are people supposed to do in that situation? Because somebody is going to be mayor. And so this is where I kind of look towards the third parties. And I'm like, and I said it before, Jill Stein came on recently and I said there was no third party option for the people. She came on and she said that Greens in New York were voting for Zohran because, again, there was no Green Party. So again, it's like, yes, I know Andrew Cuomo made it more difficult for third parties to get on the ballot in New York and increase that signature requirement. But that was also years ago. So where were the efforts along that way to start to get things moving so that they could get on the ballot? You know, these are the things that I don't understand. So I ask these questions like, do people really want to win? I look around at some of these parties that have been around for a long time, and I'm like, I don't see them out there really trying to reach these goals so that they can actually win. And so that's a question as well. This is why some people say we need another party or whatever, but I just think the parties in general are part of the problem, because I think at the end of the day, people are going to kind of go with what the party, you know, wants to happen. So what I would encourage people to do is, again, we talk about 11 demands a lot on this show. People have to be encouraged to build a movement outside of electoral politics. Like if you look at the movements that have happened in the past, the civil rights movement, the women's movement, it wasn't done through, there may have been some politicians involved, but it wasn't done through the Democratic Party. Right. So I think that we have to get back to that, like to that grassroots base there. And electoral politics is a tool that we can use in a toolbox. But to be honest, and I've said this before, especially with the Green Party, by now, as long as the Green Party has been around, the excuses are getting a little old. It's like you've had years to build. And I feel like there's some in the Green Party who really do want to win. And then there's like the other half who it's just a social club for them. I've had these conversations with Jill on the show.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know. Like maybe more people need to run as independents so they don't have to deal with the whole party situation.
I mean, that's kind of why I'm watching with a little bit of hope Shama Sawant in Seattle, because if she were to win as an independent, that would be an earthquake. Like, I'm watching with anticipation because right now, I feel very deflated. I feel depressed. I feel like, what is the option? Because honestly, like, and I don't mean this to be an asshole. Like, I'm not trying to punch down or punch left, but like, I don't see the third parties doing anything. I don't see them building power. I don't see, it all feels so useless and it feels so exhausting and it feels so discouraging. I would love to see more independents win, but we haven't seen it yet. I was really watching Dan Osborne in Nebraska to see if he could win as an independent. And because I also believe in not rewarding failure. Like, it infuriated me when Bernie Sanders was like, oh, I'm not going to call for Chuck Schumer to step down as a leader. We just need to elect more Democrats. For what, bitch? And reward you guys for failure? Like, why are we continuing to reward failure? There has to be like some kind of, and again, people got mad at me for saying this. They're like, that's not what it's about. I'm like, there has to be some kind of like punishment or threat to like make them care in some way. Cause like, otherwise they don't. They're like, fuck you, fuck off. Like, and it's just so frustrating. And I just feel so like deflated about it. It's like, I would love to see people winning as an independent, because also I think that it would be easier, because it's like, that's the other thing too. The third party thing, the infrastructure that is required for that is insane. Like, so if you run as an independent, the same way Cuomo did, you don't have to have that infrastructure that would be like enormous to take on as a third party, and people are not doing it. They are not building that infrastructure. So then, okay, see if somebody can win as an independent. Like I said, I feel a little bit discouraged by that idea too, because it's like, we haven't seen anybody be successful doing it. However, I do know that Dan Osborne is running again as an independent in Nebraska, and he did do pretty well. And like I said, I've been watching Shama Sawant, and I'm watching with lots of interest, because if she could win, that could change everything. If she actually took him out as an independent, it would open the door for people all across the country to say, you can do this without them. And at the very least, it would also create fear in them, which is good. Like, no, I don't want to be your fucking friend. I want you to be scared of us. Yes. That's what I want. And they don't, because again, even though like, as I'm like freaking out about certain things, I feel like a lot of people, like voters, they literally don't care after the election's over. They're like, okay, bye. Like, and that's frustrating too. It's like, I'm honestly, you guys, I'm depressed.
What I always say to people is not to put all your hope and faith in in a politician. At the end of the day, they're still a politician. And to Nick's point, like, I don't believe anyone anymore when they say they don't care if they're just a one-term. I don't believe that anymore.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither.
So it's like,
no,
they have roles too.
Can I address why third parties have been struggling? Like,
go ahead.
I think something that the left in the United States have missed is that there's a Bernie media industrial complex. There's a Bernie career industrial complex whose number one priority is stopping an anti-Zionist third-party movement from developing, stopping an anti-working class movement from developing. They are the same people who will never, ever support Shama Sawan. In fact, these people will run propaganda ops against people who are running against third parties, people who are not willing to follow the establishment, like Jill Stein. When Jill Stein ran, how many giant progressive Bernie media industrial complex accounts repeated the same AOC smear against her when she started surging in the polls? So one of the reasons why third parties fell is because there's an active, hostile, progressive movement that is trying to undermine them at every turn. Hassan Piker followed up and attacked Jill Stein. Majority Report, all these people did. They are agents of the Democratic Party. They're not good faith actors, fam. Their job is to lead working class people off a cliff and have them make the same mistakes over and over again. So yes, these third parties could obviously always do more, even though they are going against an unfair capitalist structure. But people underestimate how much the United States left purposely attacks and undermine third parties. Because why don't anyone ever talk about the fact, and every single progressive media outlet that I see, they always ignore that if you hit 5% as a third party candidate, you get federal funding. You can start building institutional support. But instead of sharing that with their audience, they say, oh, well, third party is a waste of time. It cannot be a waste of time if your goal is to reach these metrics. If your goal is to build a coalition you need, we know that it only takes around 15% of the population to start a popular front. So why are you opposing that? The third parties will continue to lose as long as United States leftists say they will lose, correct?
I do think there's a difference between a presidential campaign and like a mayor race and a congressional race, though. But I get where you're coming from. But I also think that, like, I'm just not keen on parties. I'm just not keen on, like, that's why people are like, you know, I voted for Jill Stein. I supported Jill Stein, but I'm registered no party affiliation. I have not joined any party, and I've been, and asked to join them, because at the end of the day, what I have noticed is that the needs of the party come first. It's all about what works best for the party, not necessarily what works best for the candidate. And I think, like, so for me, I'm just kind of like,
and in a socialist party, the party is made up of people. Well, I come at this at the approach of a Marxist. I believe in building parties. There has to be an organized structure. Like, show me in history where people achieve victories for the working class as almost an anarchist, unorganized front. I think we do need these parties. The only reason, and this is the primary reason I'm hostile. People, oh, why are you mean to Zohran? Why are you mean to Aces? I am hostile to these people because they wasted, what, $400 million on Bernie Sanders for 2 years? What would happen if, instead of the resources we burned spending on and wasting working class resources on Zohran Mamdani, AOC, and Bernie Sanders, what did we use that to build up a popular working class movement, which has to be organized via parties? You can have your own outside government. I think having an outside government where you're hostile, completely independent from the system, is where we need to go. A mutual aid society where people are, we have our own government. We have our own education systems. We've grown our own food, like our own government of people. And then once you have your own government of people where you're hostile to the current government, then you put up a candidate, just give people options. Like, these are like strategies that socialists have used internationally for decades. You form your own outside militia, you form your own outside government, and then put a candidate up. You show up in their community to engage in mutual aid, like me and Sabby talk about. You win the people over on the ground while building up your clout. The United States left failed to do this. So I understand if you guys want to be free of parties, but you understand the failure of third parties is the failure of discipline. Not because the strategy doesn't work, So I've been advocating for the United States to develop discipline so we can actually build a true working class third party. But that's just my thoughts. Go ahead, Sabby.
So what Nick is talking about is building dual power.
Absolutely.
Building dual power, which we don't have, like, really, right? So, and I think this is why people get disappointed, right? Like, so yeah, you know, like this is why I told people, don't put your faith in a politician. They're still a politician. Don't put your hope in. Don't make a politician your hero. Like, just remember, that's just one tool in the toolbox. There are other tools that can be used.
I'm all about mutual aid, doing work on the ground, and not putting your hope in a politician anymore. In fact, that's why I went out of my way for the first time in a campaign not to buy a shirt. I didn't buy a shirt this time because last time I got a sign, but I got it for free at one of the events. Last time, I have so much Bernie merch, sweaters, mugs, because I loved Bernie. And he's been such an incredibly epic disappointment that now I have all this merch that I need to get rid of. And like, I thought and so the way I'm looking at it is as a utility, as a tool. Honestly, if we did have more third-party infrastructure, well, then I would be open to that. But honestly, it's just not there. People are always talking about third parties, but there's never really anything there. So it's like what we have, I am not. The thing is, too, is that like what I care about is just the people in my community and people being able to get what they need at that moment and like survive and like not die. Like, I don't even have such a strong ideological commitment to or against something. Like, I don't really love DSA, but I don't mind DSA. Like, you know, whatever. If like sometimes, so with Zohran, it was like, I made sure not to buy any merch, even though I was inspired by his message, because he was the first politician I had heard in a while actually talk about something positive that didn't immediately go to but Trump. That wasn't just but Trump and Trump. What about Trump? So that was encouraging. But also I want to ensure, which is why I made sure not to fall in love with him or anything, that like my relationship to him is, okay, I will support you if you do something good, but I am going to oppose you if you do something bad. You're not my daddy. You're not my bestie. You're not my boyfriend. You don't pay my rent. And so if I'm not going to be committed to you personally, and I'm not interested in running cover for you if you do the wrong thing. And that doesn't mean that you don't give people grace, because that's what I'm also getting accused of. Oh, you're not even giving him grace. That's not true. But there are certain things that are a line. And to me, the idea of saying that we should keep Hakeem Jeffries is insanity. Absolute insanity. And again, silence was an option.
Blakely was doing what he's supposed to be doing, because I knew the movement was cooked the second people started celebrity worshiping Zohran. Because what did the neoliberals and Zionists do? They immediately started working him. Right now, he put out a tweet condemning anti-Semitism. They're still attacking them. They're still attacking them so they are working them every second, every moment. They're criticizing. Go, come on, go farther right, and then he does, because he put in pressure. I knew New York was cooked the second that he became a celebrity. The second that I took pressure.
That's the thing that I agree with you on. The celebrification of our politics is insane. It's so enraging. The way that literally, I was making fun of Gavin Newsom on one of my videos, and someone came in and went, "Why are you trying to help Trump for 2028? It's 2025. And they're already yelling at me about Gavin Newsom. It's amazing. But the other thing is, too, that is really frustrating about it is that it's like, pressure does work if you have somebody helping you. That's why he's already getting pulled to the right when it comes to what happened last night, because everyone was attacking him. It doesn't matter how much he tries to appease them. They're psycho Zionists or lunatics, and they're going to attack him anyway. But the other thing is that if there's no even pressure coming from the left, then what incentive does he have to listen to it? He doesn't. He doesn't have an incentive. But again, I feel kind of alone out here, because a lot of people are like, leave him alone.
Well, yeah, and unfortunately, that's going to happen. That happened with me under Obama. I remember people were like, "Don't criticize Obama." I was like, he just went to Flint, Michigan, and pretend to drink dirty water. Don't you say bad things about Obama. And so this is what I mean when I say, like, people have to be held. Politicians have to be held accountable. Like, it's weird to me that you can't
view of our relationship to them. Like, this is how I feel about it right now. And yes, I'm subject to change. I found out that my congresswoman tonight is retiring after like 14 terms, which I'm thrilled about. So I'm going to be watching this race in my district like a fucking hawk. But like, my thing is, and I would love to see a lot of people running it, But my thing is too, I am not against like a specific person, or even right now, I'm at the point right now where I'm not even focused so much on party. I'm focused on like, what can you do for me right now? And I feel like we need to change our relationship to how we view politicians. It makes me insane that there is so much worship. There is so much celebrity worship. Like, they are not fucking celebrities. AOC is not your friend. I don't give a shit about AOC, and you shouldn't either, insofar as unless she's helping you do something. So like Zohran being like, standing with the Starbucks workers and hiring Lita Khan. I'm thrilled about that. I am thrilled about that. On the other hand, him putting out that statement being like, I would discourage that language. How about tell him to fuck off? How about discourage illegal settlements for being sold in our fucking city? That's not even allowed. But again, doesn't matter. And I don't even know why he's trying to appease these people. These people are psycho. They're going to say it anyway. They're going to say he's bringing in Sharia law anyway. They're going to call him names as they have. The Islamophobia in the city right now is out of fucking control. It's out of control. It's never going to be enough. So I just wish, and I know I'm speaking from a point of privilege as a white person. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Indian. Like, I don't know what that's like, but I just wish that he would tell them to fuck off or something, because it's never going to be enough for him. They're racist, they're Islamophobic, and they are always going to go after him.
And they're going to keep taking. They will never be satisfied.
They will. It's very telling. I say, look, mention the good, but also mention the bad. Like, don't just mention, like, and I think there needs to be some type of like balance there. But I do think it's ridiculous when you can't criticize what a politician is doing. Like, it's ridiculous when it gets to that point.
Yeah, it's not my first rodeo, fam. It's not my first rodeo. Like, Sabby, we was there with John Fetterman, and I was locked, smeared, and attacked for not supporting John Fetterman, and these people will never admit I was right. The same with Zohran, the same with AOC, all these squad members. But once again, I'm not mad, because I remember when I first burst on the scene my rookie year, I had the chip on my shoulder because no one heard me. Like, I had the chip on my shoulder where I was like, fuck the DSA, fuck the progressive left. You guys, I'm like, that's not even my position anymore, because I've been doing this for what, 5 years now? Now I'm questioning, like, why am I not reaching the working class in the United States? Like, that's why, like, we're trying to ramp up our mutual aid more. Like, I need to change something up. And that's why the Zohran thing I was very active. I was very vocal about this. And a lot of people didn't really understand. They're like, well, Nick White, we have to find a way. And I speak to my revolutionary brothers and sisters to reach the American people. And for whatever reason, we didn't do it over the last few years. And when I see another politician betraying the working class, once again, I'm not mad at anyone who supported Zohran, even though I strongly disagree with strategy. Like, New York workers are desperate. It's upon us. And I want people on the left. And my biggest message, I've been preaching this on my channel, like, personal responsibility for the left. Like, why did we fail to stop Israel from committing a genocide? Why are we failing to build these third parties? How can we reach the American people? How can we spark revolutionary optimism in them? When we have a boutique left that's spreading nihilism, like the belief that we only have these politicians, that if Donald Trump wins, we're doomed. If random politician wins, we're doomed. That's political nihilism. The people that we're weak. We're weak if Democrats don't win. We can't win without a Democrat Party. That's the political nihilism that destroyed the American working class. And I got to figure out a way, and we all got to figure out a way to reach these people. I think we need to push mutual aid and meet people in the streets. That's been a big focus of ours. And I was honored to organize with the Hampton family doing that earlier this summer. That's our big goal. We talk about it all the time. That's our big goal into next year. I got to reach these people because it's depressing seeing the working class get on. I'm really sad for them. I am.
Most of the reaching is going to have to happen on the ground. It really does, because you're going to have to meet people and talk to people face to face. I think that's where a lot of that comes in. But you guys, thank you to both of you for coming on. Before you go, can you tell everybody where they can find you? Blakely.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was really good to see you both. Sorry for all the yelling. I'm just like I'm
I don't
sad
blame you. I don't blame you.
today. But thank you so much for having me on, Sabby. It was actually like really good to like come on here and like vent a little bit. And good to see you, Nick. Everybody can find me under I am Blakely on every channel. It's just got a little underscore on it on Twitter and Instagram, but everywhere else it's just at I am Blakely, like how it is here.
Okay.
Yeah, Blakely, you have great videos. It's great to be with you guys. And Sabby, you know, we're extremely proud of you. Sabby is killing the game. Always great to be in conversation with you guys. You guys know we're still streaming on RBN. I have a new channel. I relaunched my old Nick Cruz channel. I haven't streamed on 3 years. We launched it last month. We already hit monetization. I think I'm very excited about the direction of our new channel. Because you guys know I'm tanky as fuck. There's some tanky ass stuff I can't say on the RBN channel. I don't want to get our people in trouble. So if you want more uncensored, like uncut, raw, tanky news, follow me on Nick Cruz on YouTube. We're part of the RBN network. A little bit more decentralized because we don't want social media companies to silence all of us at once. Sabby killing the game. JB also has a new channel. Like you guys can check out JB Font. Like RBN, we're still doing the thing. We're a little bit more decentralized in terms of streaming now. But I think mutual aid is the biggest reason. And I think that's what RBN needs to be the driving force for. That's what we need to be a mutual aid organizing hub. And we are a leftist think tank. That's what we are. So thank you guys for watching. And make sure you guys subscribe to my personal channel, Nick Cruz. Thank you, Sabby.
All of them too. Yeah, he's great.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gents, we have 2 more stories that we do want to cover. Definitely check out Blakely. Blakely is very lively on X, and check out Nick Cruz as well. All right, again, tonight's theme, ladies and gentlemen, is new boss. So let's keep this party going on. We're going to get into this wild story that happened in Dearborn, Michigan. There are paid pro-Israel influencers that went to Dearborn, Michigan, and decided to cause a ruckus. Now, for those who are not aware, Dearborn, Michigan has a large Muslim population. The mayor of Dearborn, Michigan is Arab American and is also Muslim. And they went there to start mess and then decided to basically say it's their fault. Do prepare yourself for some of the things that you're about to hear. Let me go ahead and bring this one in first. Following a march against Islamization in Dearborn, Michigan, Pardon J. Sixer Jake Lang spoke to city council telling Muslim members, you guys are outbreeding. I'm not kidding, you guys. I can't even make this up. It's so disgusting. But this is one of the things that happened in Dearborn, Michigan. Check this out.
You got to keep it down. In 1900, the world was 30% white. Fast forward 125 years, we are down to 7%. The Islamification of Europe is particularly aimed at the destruction of white people. The Islamification of America is aiming to meet the same goal. Our people, white Christian, European, Western civilization, we built the arts. We built the Colosseum. We have ran the world into the industrial age. And now, this people here, the Muslim community, is looking to drag us back. They're looking to oppress women, oppress homosexuals. They're looking to destroy everything that makes America great. President Trump, send ICE into Dearborn. These people have overstayed their visas. They're H-1B chain migration invaders, and they have come to this country to destroy our way of life. We know exactly your laws in your book about lying to our faces, pretending to be Americans, wearing your suits. But that doesn't happen anywhere else where you guys are in charge. There are 53 Muslim majority countries, and in all of them, it is tyranny, destruction. It is shithole living. We have to call it what it is.
So let me tell you what's going on, folks. Let me tell you what's going on, okay? You know that now that the right is having a pro-Israel problem, now it is on people like him and also Cam Wigby. We're going to bring in Cam as well. You're going to see what he did in Dearborn, Michigan. It is on these paid pro-Israel influencers to convince you that somebody else is the problem. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to increase Islamophobia in the United States. They're trying to get Americans to fear Muslims once again. That's what this is all about. So the rhetoric that you're hearing coming from him, saying that, oh, it's all the Muslims' fault, it's all you guys, etc. Again, trying to shift that focus from Israel onto someone else.
You guys don't live like we do. We don't want you in our country. We will come and eat your shawarma in Somalia, okay? We don't need it here in Michigan. We don't need it in any part of America. We have a right to self-determination. Our founding fathers fought and died for our posterity, for white Americans. Amen. And we're being driven out. You come here and you marry 4 or 5 women and you outbreed us. You change the laws. You make all of our country look like the places that you fled from. We don't want you here. Respectfully, get the fuck out of my country. I don't want you here. I don't want you.
So you see what's happening? So he goes to their town, goes to their community, speaks to their people. Everybody see what he's doing here? And he's telling them that they need to leave and get out of the country. So you see the whole narrative with Israel and the genocide and trying to get people to be pro-Israel, it's not working. And so one way that they think that they can get people back on the pro-Israel board is to get people to believe that the Muslim people are a problem and you should fear them. They're scary people. I saw this after September 11. I remember all of this. That's what they're trying to do. When all else fails, blame another group. That's the trick that they're trying to use. It's sad, isn't it? Crazy.
I don't want you here. I don't want you here. This is our country. And the people, the veterans, the World War II veterans, that's blood has soaked for our constitutional republic, are taking a look around Europe. They're taking a look around America. And they're saying, what the hell did we fight for? We have been taken over without a single shot fired. You guys are outbreeding insidious parasites on the American way of life.
So let me get this straight now. See, this is where we got to come in. Because if you say that you're pro-life and that people should be having babies, but then you come and you say to this particular group that you're outbreeding, you're having too many babies, are you really pro-life, or are you only pro-life for certain people? You see the hypocrisy again? Everybody is looking for someone else to blame, another group to blame. The people in Dearborn, Michigan, minding their own business, and they basically were invaded by this guy and Cam Higbee, the pro-Israel, the paid pro-Israel influencers. This is the work of Benjamin Netanyahu. These people aren't doing this for free. They're doing it because that's what they're paid to do. And then they take video footage and they'll take deceptive video footage as well and put it on social media and say, oh my God, look, they're after me. They're attacking me. We saw the same thing when they went to the HBCUs and the kids told them to leave. Oh no, look, I'm scared. I'm worried for my life. To get you to focus on anybody else so that you're not talking about the genocide, so that you're not focused on the fact that Israel killed all these damn people in Gaza and are still starving people in Gaza.
You will never look like us. You will never eat like us. You won't build buildings like us. You are nothing. You can build nothing. Just like President Trump's great American friends have said, you guys are not us, and get the fuck out. America first, America only. God bless America. Jesus is king.
Hold on. You guys see what he's doing now? So after he said all of that, he said America first. Now he is trying to use that America first phrase to apply it to something else. See how this works? He's trying to co-op. Then he had the nerve to say Jesus is king after all that hateful stuff he said.
Jesus is king. Jesus is king. Jesus is king.
And that guy right there with the baseball cap on, that's Cam Higbee. I'll show you him as well because he also spoke. But one of the other things that happened is he slapped this guy with bacon. Like this is so disrespectful. So that's the Quran. You see what I'm saying? So you see who the threat is, right? You see who the real agitators are, right?
Hey, yo, guys. Okay, man. I just got pepper spray. You like to look like. United we stand! Divided we fall! We are not divided!
Once again, notice who the disruptor is, right? All to distract you again from the genocide that's actually happening in Israel. You'll see here's another one here. Pro-Muslim and anti-Muslim protesters argue on the corner of Michigan Avenue and Schaefer in Dearborn. So you can watch this here. So again, when we talk about colonialism, and I told you guys, Israel, the Greater Israel Project is basically the last phase of colonialism. Once again, who is coming into where? It's the Dearborn community. People who don't live there came into that community to harass these people, telling them to get out of the country. Here's another one that you'll see as well. Same guy. By the way, this account, this Wall Street Apes account, whoever this is that they don't show their face. This is another one of those accounts that pushes this type of propaganda on Twitter, and Elon Musk elevates this account. This one, Cat Turd, Gunther, Eagleman, they elevate these accounts that basically are trying to put fear into people. Look at this. Okay, he said this is a national emergency. Muslims surround Americans in Dearborn, Michigan, viciously chanting Allah Akbar. Look at the way that he worded this, he or she. Okay, this is a national emergency. No, it's not. Muslims surround Americans. Do you see what he did there? Muslims surround Americans. But the people are Muslim American. So he's trying to tell you, oh, they're not American, get them out of here. But you won't see this account say that about any of the Israeli Americans that live in the United States. And that's the propaganda that's being pushed. And that's the type of propaganda that's being elevated on Twitter from accounts like this one. A lot of these accounts don't show their face. Here's the video here.
I believe they're going to cancel the 6:30 City Hall meeting because everybody's chimping the fuck out. They're chimping the fuck out. I don't have bananas. Chill out. I don't have bananas. This is not America. This is an insurgency. They are taking over our country. They're taking over our country.
You hear what he's saying? They're taking over the country.
They want us all dead.
Let's go. Wow, what's happening right now? People are pushing. Wow. This is Dearborn, Michigan right now.
Yes, this is Dearborn, Michigan. Any racist is not welcome. No races here. If you can't be peaceful, but every race is welcome. If you're a racist, you're not welcome. At all. We do not. Every race is welcome. 1, 2, 3. Our president is a pedophile.
That was kind of funny. But yeah, so they go into these neighborhoods and they try to stir things up, right? And then you'll see here's Cam Higbee here. Again, this is Cam Higbee. He is one of the paid pro-Israel influencers that said, look, I'm here in Gaza. There's nothing. All this food is going to Gaza. Look at all of this, right? So pay attention, these accounts. Paid. He confronted the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan.
I'm a journalist. I'm not a protester. This is my badge. Okay. Today on the streets of Dearborn, I was pepper sprayed, maced by protesters because I asked them simply why they were harassing and touching another individual who had stated repeatedly that he was only on their side of the street to talk to them and have a dialogue. My phone was smashed. You can see the broken camera right there. They stole $50 out of my pocket and they stole my microphone receiver.
There's no video that showed that they stole any money out of his pocket. So do you see how you see the stigma that he's trying to place on the people there? He's basically trying to tell you they're thieves. They're violent. This is what they do. And this is 100% the agenda that Benjamin Netanyahu wants to happen. They go around the country and they go into communities that they basically tend to go into there and to harass them. They do that. They videotape it. They send out the videos or the parts of the videos that make them look good and make everybody else look bad. The video I showed you of the previous guy speaking in this meeting, that video was taken by Ford Fisher. That wasn't the video from Cam Higbee. So you see what I'm saying? Like I had to show you a video that someone else took so that you could see the full story. But then they try to make themselves look like the victim.
I went and I told one of your officers, badge number 3668, that this had happened. He told me there was nothing that could be done about it unless I went to the station. I told him, I can't go to the station. I'm working. I'm doing my job. He said, I'm working too. I said, yeah, and your job is to protect me and all of the people that are out here today. Okay, so we said that I could go into the station later. I told him, you're never going to catch the guy if I go into the station later. He's going to leave. He's dressed head to toe in black bloc. I filmed the whole thing, but he had a mask on his face. You'll never, ever get an opportunity to arrest that person ever again if you don't go and get him right now. He said, sir, I can't leave my post. 5 minutes later, I caught him in the parking lot on a personal phone call. Okay, repeatedly today, I watched people that are in this room get attacked by other people that are in this room. I watched your officers not respond to those attacks repeatedly. Then I saw somebody who was in this group, which again, I'm a journalist. I'm just documenting what's going on, and I'm here to tell you what's going on. I saw somebody in this group get arrested. I asked the officers, habeas corpus, please articulate probable cause for arresting this person. They refused to. I asked name and badge number. They refused to give me their name and badge number as a member of the press with my badge clearly displayed. They would not tell me why they were arresting this person. They just did it. Okay. Yesterday, I was exploring Dearborn. I came here just to document this from Seattle.
Nope. See, he slipped up there because first he said he wasn't a protester. He said that he was a journalist, and he slipped up right there. He said yesterday, I came here just to he was about to say protest because that's really what he came there to do.
Seattle as a journalist. Okay. I was exploring Dearborn. I walked up and down Michigan Avenue. There wasn't very many people out. Then we wanted to hear the call to prayer that we've heard so much about. So we went to a mosque. And at that mosque, I was followed by a drone. If I moved forward, the drone moved forward. If I went backwards, the drone went backwards. I went to a gas station, and that drone waited outside of the gas station, just above the door, for me to leave so it could begin following me again. I was followed by vehicles, and I was followed by individuals on foot. There was a lot of talk in here today about
public place, public space. People can follow you in a public space. You see what I mean?
Sexism. So I'd like to quote the Prophet Muhammad. Okay? One of my favorite quotes from the Prophet Muhammad. A woman's testimony is worth half that of a man's due to the deficiency of her mind. God created two sexes, one superior and one inferior. That's why your women wear hijabs, because they're inferior to men. That's why in most Muslim countries they can't leave their homes without permission of a male guardian. Is my time up?
You have 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Oh, 30 seconds.
Yeah,
okay, great.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I shouldn't feel like a dhimmi in my country. That's what I feel like in Dearborn, Michigan. It doesn't feel like home. I feel like a dhimmi, a second-class citizen, which is what Christians are in the majority of Muslim countries. Dhimmi.
He doesn't live in Dearborn, Michigan. He came to their town. Does everybody see that this is a script? It's a script, and a lot of people online are falling for this. I'm like, you guys don't realize that these guys are, look, a lot of these guys, like, he's like, I'm a journalist. No, you're a paid actor. That's what he is. Cam Higbee is a paid actor. That's it. He's not a journalist. He's paid by Israel. He was on that list as one of the people who is paid $7,000 per post by Israel. He's just a paid actor. That's it.
Peace. Second-class citizens. In the policing in this city, that's exactly what happens. And I know rank-and-file officers in pretty much every city usually want to take care of these problems. You're the one giving the orders, Mr. Mayor. These guys definitely want to do something about them. They're business. Look at them. These guys are all business. Your orders. I'm done.
You know, it's a sad disgrace what people are willing to do for money. Yeah, that $7,000 club. And this is interesting because they were making fun of him on Fox News, because now he goes on Fox News and watch this. Dearborn agitator Cam Higbee nearly faints on Fox News out of sheer stupidity. Watch this.
All intentional. It's Hamas's plan. The problem is that their plan is essentially to spread this propaganda throughout the internet by using sorry guys.
All right, let's go to RA's Cam. Get yourself together there, my friend.
The launching of missiles from densely populated urban areas like the Gaza Strip, it essentially they want people to see what is happening. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Ari, I want to get to this politically.
He must have forgotten his script. Because you see, at the end of the day, this guy and the others who are with him, this is who they work for. You know, this wasn't always Cam Higbee's boss. At some point, he had a different boss, but, you know, his new boss is Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife. That's who Cam Higbee works for. All of these people, these agitators that are going into that community, going after the Muslim community in Dearborn, Michigan, this is who they are working for. They're paid actors. He ain't no damn journalist. Paid actor. And that's his boss. So that's his new boss. The same guy who stood up there and said people need to get out of the country. That's who he works for. And as Solomon mentioned here, Solomon said, Cam Higbee is part of the drama in Dearborn, is clearly a psyop. And he'll wear different disguises. Sometimes he has on a hat. Sometimes he has on sunglasses. Notice in this picture, his eyes are right there for you to see. No sunglasses, no hat. It's the same person that keeps doing this. That's who Cam Higbee works for. So his new boss is foreign intelligence, Benjamin Netanyahu, but he goes to Dearborn and tells them that they need to get out of the country, that he feels like a second-class citizen there. It's all a script, it's all acting, and it's dangerous. But Cam Higbee likes his new boss because his new boss is paying him $7,000 per post. Not every day, per post. Imagine if he posts 10 posts, maybe even more for video. You know what I'm saying? So in comes the videos. It's a sad state of affairs. A lot of people have been bought, and Cam Higbee is one of them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have one more story that I do want to get to. And I don't want to keep you guys up here too late. I know I've gone long and I'm sorry. But I do want to cover this Charlie Kirk evidence story because this is some wild shizness, okay? I haven't said that in a long time, shizness. We were talking about new bosses. And I think we need to ask that question with the new information that's been released about the Charlie Kirk case. All of a sudden, now it appears that the Washington County's Sheriff's Office no longer has video footage of Tyler Robinson walking into that police station. What? You heard it right. So a couple of things happen here, folks. Either the video footage never existed in the first damn place. That's one thing you can hold on to. Either it was fake. And if the video footage did exist, why is it now gone? Let's go back 1 month ago to show you what they were saying then, because I want you guys to hear this. This was Law and Crime. They were covering this at this point in time. What the FBI was saying then about Tyler Robinson. Pay attention.
Last week and said this about Discord, the messaging platform, whose spokesperson has said that Tyler Robinson didn't plan the crime on the site, but he admitted to the shooting after the fact. Take a listen.
Reports have suggested that the FBI is investigating a broader network of groups that may have had some knowledge of the shooter's plans. Can you give us any details on that, following up what you already said in public? How's the FBI working to find other potential accomplices, folks who may have known about the shooter's plans, folks who may have encouraged him? Any update on any of that?
So in terms of what we do for an interrogation perspective, we go and reach out to the family and community immediately. And we've conducted those investigations and interrogations with local law enforcement. And we're continuing to do that because those closest to the suspect are going to hopefully know the most about the suspect and his beliefs and his ideology. On top of that, unfortunately, it has been leaked that there was a Discord chat. And for those unfamiliar with it, it's a gaming chat room online that the suspect participated in. So what we're doing, we've already done is serve legal process, not just on Discord, so that the information we gathered is sustained and held in a evidentiary posture that we could use in prosecution should it be decided to do so. And we're also going to be investigating anyone and everyone involved in that Discord chat.
Okay.
Pause. So remember after this, Discord made a statement that said that they didn't have messages from Tyler Robinson talking about this crime. And that was after the FBI said that there was information in Discord, right? So they looked into Discord and they said, oh, look, he was talking about this. He was talking to his roommate and said this in Discord. Then Discord issued a public statement and said, no, that doesn't exist on our server. Doesn't exist there on our site. That was weird. Then all of a sudden, the FBI, they said, oh, these are the text messages between him and his roommates. And the text messages read like, I don't know, something you would see from the movie The Notebook. If you guys ever saw that by the book by Nicholas Sparks, but if you ever saw the movie The Notebook, it sounded like it was two people speaking back in like 1926. Didn't sound like a 22-year-old. That was also very weird. Listen on.
Very good. I see the public reports that the Discord thread had as many as 20 additional users. It sounds like you're trying to run down all of that to see if that's accurate, who else may have been on that thread, what they may have known. Is that fair to say?
It's a lot more than that, and we're running them all down.
It's a lot more than 20?
Yes, sir.
And you're running all of that to ground,
every
you
single
said.
one.
Now, Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, and now the CEO of Turning Point USA, the organization that Charlie Kirk founded when he was just 18 years old, spoke at his memorial service about the loss of her husband.
On the afternoon, we're going to fast forward here because you guys have already seen this a number of times probably. I just want to get to the other part. Oh, where did I go? Oh, sorry about that. I need to go forward. This part right about here. Right here.
On X that every possibility is being investigated. Patel wrote, as the director of the FBI, I am committed to ensuring the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is thorough and exhaustive, pursuing every lead to its conclusion. The full weight of America's law enforcement agencies are actively following the evidence that has emerged, but our efforts extend beyond initial findings. We are examining every facet of this assassination.
We are examining every facet of this assassination, right? So that's what he was saying then. But they stopped investigating for the most part. Kash Patel did. They were like, this is the guy. This is Tyler Robinson. This is our guy. Video footage shows him getting off the roof with no gun in his hand. People are like, oh, he put the gun in the book bag. Then you find out that gun can't be disassembled quickly. It takes a long time. Oh, well, you know, he changed clothes. Change clothes and pose. Then they told you that. They're like, oh, he went into the woods and he dropped it off there and he left the gun there. Really? He had time to do all that? With that gun? Let's continue on. Once they said, this is our guy, that was a wrap. And they were able to use the agenda that they wanted.
Are meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location from where the shot was taken, the possibility of accomplices, the text message confession and related conversations, Discord chats, the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as potential signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the alleged shooter's residence in the hours and days leading up to September 10th, 2025. Some details are known today, while others are still being pursued to ensure every possibility is considered. Our primary focus is to complete this investigation and deliver justice. To protect the integrity of the investigation and subsequent prosecution, we cannot release every piece of information we have to the public right now. We will ensure every question is addressed at the appropriate moment. Regarding specific details, such as...
Pause real quick here before we get to the plane. Okay, because they're going to get to the plane part in here in just a second. So at that time, 1 month ago, they said they were looking into all of these things. They were looking into the impact of the bullet, the angle of the shot, all those things. Notice you don't hear about that anymore. Notice how, like, literally, like, this was fast. Like, within a week, they were like, it was that guy. We found our guy. And they just told people to accept it. And I couldn't see any video footage that said that it was him. They mentioned also here about hand gestures and signals, hand signals. Remember those videos that were going around on social media of people that seemed to be part of the staff at that point in time, making hand signals and stuff like that in the crowd? You ever hear the FBI say anything else about that? What about the fact that the camera that was set up behind, like, Charlie Kirk, you ever heard the FBI say anything about the guy who was working with them at that point in time during that day that took the camera down and removed it and said he did it to protect the card because he didn't want people to take it and then make, you know, videos of it and all that kind of thing? It's really weird how all of that would go through your brain at that point in time after someone was just shot in front of you. Let me go get this camera and just remove this SIM card just in case somebody tried to get this camera and take it and put it online and do other things with the videos. That's what you're thinking about at that point in time? Someone just got shot in front of you? Someone who's your friend? Because my initial thought would be, oh my God, my friend was just shot. FBI ever say anything else about that? That was just odd behavior to me. Now let's get to the part about the plane.
Questions about the plane that allegedly turned off its transponder after departing from an airport near the assassination site. We can share updates when answers are confirmed. After interviews with the pilot in consultation with the FAA, we determined the transponder was not turned off. Incomplete flight data in rural areas caused the apparent gap. The entire FBI mourns the loss of Charlie Kirk. We will not rest until justice is served, and our investigation into this assassination will continue until every question is answered.
But every question hasn't been answered. There's also new information that says that plane transponder did turn off. Someone just mentioned it here. Butler, Pennsylvania remains a mystery. Listen up, folks. Don't you think it's weird you don't hear about that anymore? Someone tried to assassinate a presidential candidate. Don't you think it's weird you don't hear anything about that anymore? Now, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. Because now, as we go into the new information that was just released, people need to start asking some damn questions. Because now they are telling you that the evidence that showed Tyler Robinson walking into the police station. All of a sudden, that video is gone. Nowhere to be found. Local news station investigates. Listen to this.
Rudy Bautista is a Rule 8 attorney, qualifications only select number of defense attorneys in Utah have in order to defend cases with a capital offense, some involving a possible death penalty. He's not affiliated with the case involving Tyler Robinson, who's accused of shooting and killing Charlie Kirk back in September. I showed him what I found that could indicate there is potential missing evidence in the case.
He said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk shooter is."
On September 17th, 2025, Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby held a press conference.
Our job was not to interview. Our job was just to get him here.
After Charlie Kirk's alleged shooter was taken into custody in Washington County less than 2 days after the shooting.
Within the hour, my friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office, where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives.
After learning of this, I submitted a public records request to obtain any video of Tyler Robinson walking into the jail facility. Washington County responded saying there were no records responsive to the request. As
let's go back just to make sure that we didn't miss something that he said. Let's just go back and listen to the officer one more time.
Evidence in the case.
He said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk shooter is."
On September 17th, 2025, Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby held a press conference.
Our job was not to interview. Our job was just to get him here.
After Charlie Kirk's alleged shooter was taken into custody in Washington County less than 2 days after the shooting.
Within the hour, my friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office, where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives.
After learning of this, I submitted a public records request to obtain any video of Tyler Robinson walking into the jail facility. Washington County responded saying there were no records responsive to the request, as Robinson did not go to the jail area. Our request.
Did everybody just hear what they said? There were no records to match the request, as Robinson did not go to the jail area. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about people being had. That officer said that his father and Tyler Robinson was brought there by his father. So you have another person, right? Not just Tyler Robinson. Where are Tyler Robinson's parents? Anybody heard anything? No? Anybody? So let's follow the dots just a little bit more. Read it along, folks.
There were no records responsive to the request, as Robinson did not go to the jail area. Our request for any holding room video was denied. A few weeks later, I re-upped the request on a more generalized scale for surveillance video showing Tyler Robinson walking into the sheriff's office.
For the state of Utah, we would certainly hope that this video is available.
The response? Our office does not have any applicable records responsive to this request, as the surveillance footage is no longer available after the 30-day retention period.
Pause. How convenient. Oh, after 30 days, we don't have that available anymore. Okay, the first part, the first request, they said, well, we don't have records about that because he didn't go to the jail area. Where the fuck did he go? So there's that. And I'm sorry for the potty mouth, you guys. I know I've been saying it, I've been cussing a lot lately, so I'm sorry. Where did he go? So there's that. And then now, all of a sudden, the surveillance footage that would show him and his dad walking into the office doesn't exist. You cannot make this up, guys. You can't make this up, honey.
Responsive to this request, as the surveillance footage is no longer available after the 30-day retention period.
If in fact it has been destroyed and not preserved, it's very concerning. And if it has, then it's very concerning that they're telling you they don't have it. If they no longer have it, I would have expected to say that this video has been provided to the Utah County law enforcement. Please contact them.
Peep this, fam. What if the video never existed in the first damn place? Okay, like what if there is no surveillance video because that did not happen? Has anybody heard from Tyler Robinson's dad who escorted him into the sheriff's office that day? Not saying that he has to speak out, but anybody? This video, like, this is the smoking gun, son. This video is gone. Now, let's talk about that 30-day retention period, and then we're going to come back into who Tyler Robinson was, because I do think that piece is important. We'll go to James Lee real quick. Let me go here. Let me go to James Lee, because James found out something about that 30-day retention period. This is my bad. I didn't get this ready yet. So I want to show you this. I probably need to invite James Lee back on, actually. It's been a minute. Okay. So peep this, fam. Let's put this up here. Wait till you hear what James Lee found out about this 30-day retention period. I think it's right about here. Yes, after that video that I just showed you. So listen to this.
No longer available after the 30-day retention period.
So I actually went and looked some of this stuff up. And according to the Washington County Sheriff's Policy Manual, they don't have a 30-day retention policy.
What?
Yeah,
What?
and this seems to be a repeating pattern, a repeating theme with this whole case, is that every time they give us more information, it seems like it just unveils a whole new set of pieces that don't make any sense at all.
Remember, Tyler Robinson never even confessed or pled guilty.
He has not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating.
It's not important that he never confessed, but what is important here is that his boyfriend is transgender.
So does everybody see? You see what they're doing? So again, this 30-day retention period, let's start right there so we can see that
In
part.
Utah, we would certainly hope that this video is available.
The response? Our office does not have any applicable records responsive to this request, as the surveillance footage is no longer available after the 30-day retention period.
So I actually went and looked some of this stuff up. And according to the Washington County Sheriff's Policy Manual, they don't have a 30-day retention policy.
What?
Yeah, and this seems to be a repeating pattern, a repeating theme with this whole case, is that every time they give us more information, it seems like it just unveils a whole new set of pieces that don't make any sense at all.
So about that 30-day retention period, either this is the most corrupt mafia style sheriff's office in the country, or the sheriff's office is just so discombobulated that they're just not doing anything right. Or Tyler Robinson is and always has been, as many of us have been saying from the get-go, a fucking patsy. Because at the end of the day, when I look at who Tyler Robinson was, none of this made a lot of sense to me. Tyler Robinson, this is from One. Thank you, One, for this. Tyler Robinson wanted to be a CEO. How Tyler Robinson turned from a scholar to the killer of Charlie Kirk. Once a quiet, high-achieving student with ambitions of becoming a businessman, Tyler Robinson's life took a shocking turn. So this is not someone who had any type of record. From what I understand, it said here he was a straight A student. Tyler Robinson was a straight A student who wanted to go on and become a CEO. Quiet, respectful. Now, this is not to say that people can't, flip. It's not to say that if you make straight A's, you can't be a killer. So I want to make that very clear. But when you combine this to everything else, it does not make any damn sense. It said in 2021, he graduated with top marks. He pursued an electrical apprentice program at a technical college closer to home in Utah, signaling a practical career path ahead. Why would he give all of this up to do this, to kill Charlie Kirk or anyone? And now the video footage that supposedly existed that showed his father walking him into the sheriff's office is gone. I tell you, when I say this administration in particular is fooling the hell out of people, here's another example. Here's Pam Bondi right now trying to pretend as though she told people there was nothing to see in those damn Epstein files. Listen to her.
New investigation by the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney prevent the department from releasing all of the remaining files?
So we have released over 33,000 Epstein documents to the Hill, and we'll continue to follow the law and to have maximum transparency. Also, we will always encourage all victims to come forward.
What are the next steps, Madam Attorney General, for the DOJ regarding what we assume President Trump will sign into law with the Epstein files? Is this going to be on the Justice Department website? What are you doing here over the next 30 days, as we understand it?
We will continue to follow the law with maximum transparency while protecting victims.
When you say follow the law, Madam Attorney General, do you mean that you will provide all the files by 30 days?
We will follow the law. The law passed both chambers last evening. It has not yet been signed, but we will continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
Madam Attorney General, the DOJ statement earlier this year saying that the files would not release mentioned the fact that the review of the documents and the evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted. What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's information new information, additional information. And again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads. If there are any victims, we encourage all victims to come forward. And we will continue to provide maximum transparency under the law.
Guys, these people, okay, Pam Bondi, another one that comes from the pageant industry. Kash Patel with the Israeli girlfriend who people were saying was alluding to possibly an agent. Who the hell are these people? Put two and two together. Pam Bondi comes from the pageant industry. This is the same woman that told you there was nothing to see there with the Epstein files. Now all of a sudden says there's something to see. Kash Patel is standing in the background with his eyes just looking like this. Not even moving. He doesn't even look like he's breathing. Is he human? This is corruption to the T. Guys, question everything. Question everything. Ain't no damn way. Like I said, the fact that video footage just doesn't seem to exist, that tells me one or two things. Either Tyler Robinson never walked into that damn sheriff's office with his father, never walked in at all. Either Tyler Robinson probably was drugged or something somewhere, and they just brought him there while he was passed the fuck out and said, this is who we gonna pin this on. I've seen stranger things happen. We're talking about, we live in a country where at one point the mob was picking politicians, okay? So when people say that's crazy talk, no, it's not crazy talk. You got to think about the country we live in. Something here ain't right. Something is rotten in Denmark. And I think we're seeing it a little bit more now because with the Trump administration, it's kind of just out there in the open. You know, it's like, The Biden administration is a little bit better at kind of keeping things behind closed doors that shouldn't have been exposed. But with Kash Patel and all this shit just coming out in the open. And I just got to say, to the person who said this in the chat, great question. Where the hell is Tyler Robinson's lawyer? Tyler Robinson said he didn't do it. Remember they said he was not cooperating? Let me tell you something. There's going to be a movie about this one day. And all of us are going to look back and we're just going to be like, oh, I remember this. I think what you learn again, when we talk about bosses, like the new boss, even in the criminal and justice system, it doesn't matter if the boss is new or if you keep the current boss. Corruption is still at bay. Corruption is still going to be there. Or not at bay. It's still consistent because it's allowed to be. I just find it very strange. We're not hearing from this kid's lawyer. Dad is nowhere around. I ain't hearing nothing. Nothing. It's very strange times, guys. And we just got to pay attention to all of it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Eric is going to come on and close out the show. Eric, I think we still have super chats.
We got chats. We got chats. Yeah, strange days indeed. And you know, and I'm always going to try to connect this to 11 demands and the idea of a movement. Now, how could we get to the bottom of all this? Well, if we had a government that wasn't totally corrupt, and if we had a Congress that wasn't totally corrupt, they would have hearings. It would all be transparent and public because they're not corrupt, and they would dig into these things. They would get these records, and we might, you know, actually start to figure out what's really going on. But as long as it's both parties and all the branches of government are all corrupt, working for the billionaires and not for us, it's this mess. So the path to fixing it is to fix that, right? Can't go wrong calling out the corruption.
This is true. All right, guys.
All right, we're going to let you go, and we're going to close things out. All right. Let's see here. I always want to find my little. There we go. Yeah. So like I said, you know, the path. You know, like when people are talking about all this stuff, I think they anyone who's talking about these things at length should be ready to answer the question, you know, what do we do about all this? You know, how do we get in there and fix this mess? And, you know, to me, the only real fix is for us to have a mass movement based on clear demands with a strong focus on corruption. And one thing that's actually funny, I found out several times kind of the hard way is that, you know, like the YouTube censorship is like off the hook in the chat, like, and if people are putting in chats and they're not getting through, right? It's not us, it's YouTube, and YouTube, of course, you know, will censor, you know, and they have this automatic censorship where it just gets squashed and it doesn't get through. You have to be like watching it on like another account, or we see it on StreamYard to even tell that it's happening. And you know, they'll censor obvious things like if you're putting in content that's violent or hate speech or things like that, but the censor, it's like a dumb AI. It's like it tries to figure out things and it'll just censor stupid stuff and stuff that's, you know, questionable. Like sometimes when you talk about the billionaires, if you talk about things like getting rid of billionaires, that'll get censored. But the one that I hit upon today is if you put in a sentence and a lot of times it says we need a mass movement. It doesn't like that phrase, mass movement. And I've had to change it to we need a big movement because, yeah, YouTube censorship off the hook. Anyways, yeah, so we just had our the premiere of the documentary today. Let me just put in chat. Sabby mentioned it that you want to watch it while you can, because then it's going to get pulled after a certain point, so it can be submitted to film festivals and things like that, because they make us do that. But yeah, do check that out. It's as you may have heard, it's excellent stuff. Probably a lot of you watched it already, but you know, we're all so proud of Sabrina. You know, she did most of the work for that, and it is good stuff. All right, let's see about what we get in here for some chats. Thanks for the super chat, Kenman. And some of these may go back to the previous story and whatnot. We've been queuing them up a little bit, saying van, more like minivan, maybe talking about Van Jones. But thanks for that one. Thanks for this one, Mark. Who says, the three of you, holy shit, tanky salute to Comrade Nick. Yes, talking about our guests. And yeah, that was a fun interview there with Blakely and Nick. And my hope is that we can all figure out a way that we can work towards some real change together. But I say it starts with demands. Thanks for the super chat, Cheryl Davis. Came across some videos of Kwame Ture talking about socialism being a counter for capitalism. Turns out he was debating Zionists back in the 70s. Yeah, I mean, when you go back, you can definitely find lots of discussions of these things in the Zionist project. I mean, it goes back to the Nakba in 48 and later. And it's that thing where there's nothing new, but now we have more information. So hopefully that means, we can organize around that, organize around, a clear program together, I'll say. Thank you very much for this very generous super sticker, Blueser. Appreciate you. And thanks for the super chat, Kenman, who says, more on Van Jones, clown. Van Jones, clown. All right, I can't argue with you there, Kenman. And thanks for this one, William Ellick, who says, chick is Dan Bilzerian's dream girl, FLOL. Okay, thanks for that one. And one thing I noticed that YouTube, like it's done this before and it's doing it today again. It's showing handles instead of people's full names. So it's like the @ name instead of the full name, but it's a YouTube thing apparently. I don't know if anyone knows anything about that. Let us know. But it just seems like YouTube just decided to do that, whereas I'd much rather see the real names. But thanks for the super chat, Chip Walter. He says, thank you, whistleblowers. We love you. Yep, whistleblowers definitely should be encouraged and protected generally. And thanks for the super chat, Fuzzy Balls. It doesn't matter if you are a Democrat or a Republican, but if you oppose the MIC-owned Uniparty, the dark forces, Israel, running things, they will make sure you get voted out, and both parties love war. Thanks for that, Fuzzy Balls. And I would basically agree, except I would substitute billionaires, top 0.1%, instead of Israel. I think it's a mistake to put the focus on everything on Israel. It's definitely needs to be talked about. It's front and center. But the Israel and the Zionists didn't bring us the Ukraine-Russia war. They didn't bring us wealth inequality, and I think just so much of this really, you have to go into the system and the structures and the billionaires at the top. And it's not even personal. It's not like it's a personal thing with these billionaires. We hate them. It's about, we can't afford them, both economically and morally and systemically. And the great project of our time is to get to 99%, to organize together against that top 0.1%, politically against them, economically against them, and say we need a government that isn't corrupted by them and represents us. And so I think putting too much of the focus on Israel, as much as it should be talked about, if that's all we talk about, I'll put it to you this way: if Israel and Israeli in the Zionist interests were suddenly not a factor anymore, let's say they would, that interest was not a thing anymore, we'd still have a totally corrupt government. We'd still have an MIC that's this maw that has to be fed and drives all this, corruption and war. And we would still have the same kind of problems that we have to fix, the corruption. So I say, know your enemy. Your enemy is that top 0.1% and their corruption. And that's, we have to keep the focus on. And I don't even like the word defeat, but we need to win the political battle. We need to win the social and systemic value. Anyways, I'm talking too much. Let's get some more super chats through here. Thanks for the super chat, Krista, who says, just finished the documentary episode. Great job, Sabby, and thank you. Yes. doc is awesome. And thanks for this super chat, William, who says, is a good candidate allowed to even run? Big club. And yeah, it's a challenge out there. And what I say when those questions come up is we need a big movement. We need that mass movement with clear demands, and that will power the other things. If we don't get that, if we don't get, literally millions of people in the streets making these demands, then yeah, it's not going to change. It's not going to get better. That's why, I think we really need to put that focus on how do we inspire huge numbers of people. And thanks for the super chat, T-Bird86. Is that Baby Ethernet? I think that also goes by Baby Ethernet. See the regulars, we get to know them. Who says, and I was been a member for 7 months, and who used their special member chat to say, we need to build dual power in our communities in favor of focusing on electoral politics. Long-term collective struggle will exact material change. All right, thanks for that one. And thanks for this, Mark. Blakely should start an NYC chapter of RBN. And thanks for this one, Fuzzy Balls. Oh, Corey tells me he doesn't think T-Bird is Baby Ethernet. All right, I got that wrong. Okay, if I got it wrong, then apologies to Baby Ethernet or to the other person. I don't know. Corey's keeping an eye on me. I appreciate it. All right, thanks for some fuzzy balls. He says, until we stop spending our money overseas, nothing will ever get better here domestically. Yep. And thanks for this one, Super Plato Man. He says, Sabby, I disagree with Socialist MMA, that's Nick, RBN Nick, on his strategy in NYC, and it's not realistic. The best they can do is a Zohran Mamdani. A third party can't win. And what I would say to that is instead of saying what can't happen, let's talk about what we can do. It's up to us to make real change happen. And thanks for this one, NY Varsity Sports, Jason. If it were not for Dearborn, Trump does not win Michigan. Yeah, you're welcome. And by the way, he loves that new Trump private jet and billions from the Saudis. All right. And thanks for this one, Miesbon. Why does Cam look like Hitler in that Fox News segment? Yeah, I think that old Cam guy in the Fox News got a real case of the jitters, and kind of lost it. Which, considering the guy's I don't know what to call him, but good, whatever. And thanks for this one, Fuzzy Balls, who says, Kash Patel is just another corrupt head of the FBI, keeping that dark legacy alive and well. Yeah, and I mean, you go back to J. Edgar Hoover, and it's quite a history. And thanks for the super chat, William. Is Tyler a AI CGI generated created patsy? I mean, I'll say this about all that. Personally, I'm not sold on all the questions on it, or I don't know. I don't even want to call them conspiracies, but I would say, regardless of what the truth really is, they sure are doing a great job of making us think and really question, and everything that they're doing and what's all happening there. I'll certainly say that much about it. And the level of incompetence just, is going to raise all these questions regardless of what the truth is. All right, and then we got some. I should have been running that bigger. We got some tipped comments on Rockfin from Mr. Roger Meadows. So let's see about those. Do a little sizing here. All right, and again, some of this goes back to the previous stories. So just all right, Roger Meadows, thanks for the tip comment on Rockfin, who says, I wouldn't cry if any of those politicians Trump named got deleted. Matter of fact, they can take Spamberger with them. Trump talking about scrubbing Republican names from the Epstein files is the 1000th reason why. We must completely abolish political parties. Sab, when you left Keaton and Russ today, Russ said if those names are redacted, then Massey will read the names on the House floor. Yeah, well, it's, we'll see. I'd really like to have Massey read as an announcement saying he's leaving the Uniparty. But and thanks for this one, Roger. I say the way forward is ban IDF training for the NYPD, and that Zohran uses mandate to demand City Council put a bill on his desk that expands upon de Blasio's abolishment of qualified immunity to cover violation of First Amendment rights, allowing those who had their protests and media rights violated by the NYPD to sue the NYPD directly instead of having it come out of the taxpayer's hide. And thanks for this one. Let me get the scroll right here. And Roger, also, thanks for this one as well. Roger says, Nick, from the very inception, political parties are designed to place the party interest above the public interest. No matter how they start out, they grow in clout and power. The public interest will move further and further to the background. We don't need parties to organize around policy. You can organize at the state level around CBIs. Missouri allows you to do so. Start there. All right. Thanks for those, Roger and everyone. There we go. Get that sizing here. All right. And, I think parties, in some fashion are inevitable, because if the idea of like actually having the government outlaw parties is very problematic. I mean, it gets into free association and whatnot. And then you're really getting into, well, you don't want parties spending money and moving the money around it. So then you're really talking about regulation of parties, and how they spend money and how they organize in monetarily. And if you're talking about that, then you're really talking about campaign finance. And, and I would submit you getting back to, 11 demands. And 11 demands number one, which I'll just throw up here very quickly as we close out. And and if you go to 11demands.org, see how quick I am. Here we go. And into the demand number one. Where's my mouse? Sorry, just getting organized here. Right. If you go down, into reading it and into demand number one, it's about fixing politics in big money in government, and passing those laws for clean elections and fixing the Constitution. So corporations are not people and money is not speech. And so, I would submit that, rather than getting too focused on whether we have parties or we don't have parties, we should be focusing on these clear demands, right? About healthcare, about a good standard of living for everyone, the wars, about justice, climate, censorship, immigration, the election system, taxation, and democratizing the enterprise. And if we use that as our core, I think we can really be getting somewhere. All right. In closing, always focus on the corruption. I want to see the corruption mentioned, and on any candidate who wants to get our vote and get our support. They should be talking about corruption. If you look at their website, it should be front and center, and have clear demands. And check out the Sabby documentary. I got it handy here. I'll put it in chat one more time. And we will be back. Sabby will be back at you live on Sunday at 5 p.m., our usual schedule. We'll see. We'll have something good for you then, as usual. And until then, I'm going to leave it with, like Sabrina does, have a good night and keep up that fight. We'll see you next time.